Today, while waiting for other participants, you can grab a snack or any drinks and just prepare yourself as we assure you that the next few hours will be full of learnings and truly inspiring talks. So get ready, set yourselves, and grow with us. Take note that this event will be recorded and will be streamed live on Facebook. So for a while, we will have a short interlude of the promotional videos of our beloved sponsors and partners. Thank you.
We realize that high school, college, even a first job can seem scary. That's why we created 𝗥𝗽𝗵𝗄𝗏 to equip them with tools, connect them to schools, find scholarships, learn online, match their skills to courses and jobs out there. So their future wouldn't be as scary. 𝗥𝗽𝗵𝗄𝗏.
Welcome to Kada Career, mga aspiring cadets! Are you ready to go on a journey and grow with all of us? Pero, bago lahat niyan, ano nga ba ang Kada Career? Kada Career is an online platform where people get to learn about new career paths, connect with experts from different fields, and build their networks by being part of a community. In short, a cadet gets to enjoy the 3 C's of Kada Career: content, coaching, and community. Explore the vast content that Kada Career has to offer by joining online webinars and workshops that tackle different topics such as UX UI design, running online businesses, virtual freelancing, and many more. Also get to discover and learn more about the careers that you plan to take by understanding the work done, responsibilities, and the skills needed in these professions through Kada Career's Career Exploring Database. Mas natututo ka ba kapag one-on-one ang usapan? Huwag kang mag-alala because Kada Career lets cadets choose a coach that they'd want to consult with through the platform's offered coaching sessions. Get to interact with different coaches from a vast array of fields and expertise whose aim is to guide you in your journey of excelling in your career. But that's not all. Here in Kada Career, hindi ka nag-iisa because of the inclusive community that welcomes you to the platform. Get to meet and interact with other people that share the same experiences as you as the community strives to empower one another in achieving their goals in life. O diba? Talagang sulit dito sa Kada Career dahil libre ang admission. What else are you waiting for? Sali ka na sa Kada Career and take one step closer to reaching for the stars. Kada Career. Basta career, Kada Career.
We are a few minutes away towards our event. Before we officially start, we want to relay a few reminders to all of our participants. First, make sure that your microphones and cameras are turned off all throughout the event, except in our photo ops, especially when our speakers are presenting to avoid any interruptions or distractions. Next, we highly encourage everyone to participate when asked to and during the question and answer portion. However, should you have any concerns, questions, or comments, please remain polite and proper, not only here in our Zoom chat box, but also in our Facebook live stream. Questions that are not related to what we are about to tackle today will not be entertained.
That's right, guys. Please take note of the reminders and practice online etiquette at all times. Nevertheless, just chill and enjoy the whole event as we have a lot of things prepared for you. So, before we get any further, this event won't be possible without the following companies and organizations. Ready Set Grow is co-presented by Buyer Technologies, DevCurate, Education.ph, and Kada Career. We also want to thank DGY Academy, DataCamp, FranchiseManila.com, Point West Innovations Corporation, and Engineering Wins PH for sponsoring today's event. Our utmost gratitude as well to the following GDSC chapters for being our major partners: FEU Institute of Technology, Holy Angel University of San Agustin, University of St. LaSalle, together with Institute of Computer Engineers of the Philippines, .SE, PLM chapter, PLM Computer Science Society, PLM Tugon Rescue, and UP Sahamsai.
Of course, we would also like to extend our thanks to our executive media partners when in Manila and Edge TV Philippines. Another special thanks to our media partners, GDSC PUP Manila, GDSC UP Manila, Kilos Youth, PLM CAOP Student Council, PLM College of Engineering and Technology Student Council, PLM Society of Information Technology Enthusiasts, and WeTech. We also don't want to forget the following GDSC chapters for being our minor partners: AMA Caloocan, Batangas State University, JPLPC Malvar, Uno Recoletas, Crystal E College, University of San Carlos, together with Bukluran Student Alliance.
All right. Good afternoon to all. Once again, welcome to Ready Set Grow. Fasten your skills and get ready for takeoff. I am Maureen Katura, the GDSC PLM lead auditor, but you can call me Mao or Maureen, not the model, just me.
Yes, that's right. And I am Grace Calogan, the GDSC PLM's Chief Operations Officer, but you can call me AC, not the dancer, just me. And we will be your host for today. So, Mao, we meet again.
Yes,
How have
hello,
you been this
Grace.
past few days?
It has been a while since we hosted an event together. We just had our midterm examination last week at PLM. I'm sure those PLMers who are with us today felt the stress during this past 2 weeks, and now we have some sense of relief since we're already done with it. So, to all PLMers, congratulations because you worked hard and you did well for the midterm examinations. Maybe flex, but I got pretty high scores. So how about you, Grace? How are you this past few days?
Wow, sana all high scores. Charot. I think I did good somehow, pero a little bit stressed, but so far I was able to keep up naman. So, to our participants, of course, we just had your midterms or exams. Hopefully, you already got a lot of rest because today will be a productive day for all of us. Therefore, we're curious, so it is time for mood check. So, what are your expectations for this day? To answer your question, you can go to the Slido link down on our Zoom chat box or in the comment section. You can also go to the website of Slido and type in the code hashtag RSGQNA1. Again, the code is hashtag RSGQNA1. So, yeah,
I
yep,
guess
your
I'll start first about my expectation for today's event. To be honest, I'm looking forward to this event because this is the very first flagship event of GDSC PLN, and I'm looking forward sa mga learnings na matututunan ko from the speakers. How about you, Grace?
I actually had the same expectation. Pero first of all, I hope that I don't mess up because again, ayun, there's a lot of participants who are expecting a lot of learnings today. So yeah, drop your expectations, guys. So the first one, I expect to have many learnings to our speakers and to connect with other people. You'll surely connect to a lot of people here. So connect me on LinkedIn, Joshua Bumalag. Okay, connect niyo daw siya sa LinkedIn.
So we have
Joshua Bumalag.
another one, having a sneak peek into the industry. Of course, we've invited speakers from different companies to introduce their companies and their experiences to us.
So another one, a lot of knowledge will be unleashed. That expectation, you will surely accomplish that after this session. Yes. Other expectations, guys.
Next one will be guided for my future career pursuit. So like, of course, ito
Yes.
nga yung agenda ng event na to guide you for your career path.
Okay. So another one, we have to find which direction. Okay, it's it's all coming. To find which direction I really want to pursue in the tech industry. So ayan, just like what Mao said earlier, we hope that this would be a starting point for everyone. We're still, lost kung ano yung gusto nilang i-pursue, especially in the tech industry. Yes. Ayun, marami na natabunan, pero sige, pinaka-recent na lang. So, go, Mao.
So next, yung isa, I'd like to know what are the current trends in the industry so I can align my future career with it. I hope na ma-introduce ka sa different career paths today. I mean, and in the next few days then.
Okay, so another one, yung pinakauna, to slap my face with the truth that we are graduating sooner or later and that we need to kick off our careers. Yes, of course, we have our own pace naman, but then, diba, it would be great if you would start now, diba, or better than later.
Parang feeling
So,
ko
yeah.
kailangan ko rin mas slap sa face ng
Ako din.
katotohanan.
Na-feel ko yan. Na-feel ko yung slap the truth. Okay. So another one. I expect to gain knowledge on how to build my profile for my future career in the professional world. We assure you, after this, you have an idea on how to build your profile. So yeah, look forward to it.
Hmm. So I guess that's our last one now. We don't want our attendees to wait fast. So
Yes.
I'm glad that most of our attendees are active. It was nice to hear about your expectations for today. Well, I really do hope that you'll learn a lot and enjoy our event. Before we proceed with the event proper, let's have the Philippine National Anthem and prayer.
So yeah. So to formally start the event, let's all welcome the founder and former Chief Executive Officer of GDSC PLM, Okay, I'm a repeat. So, for the formally start event, let's all welcome the founder and former Chief Executive Officer of GDSC PLM. It's none other than Juan Miguel Mendoza to give us a warm introductory statement. So, let's all give him a virtual round of applause.
Hello guys. Am I loud and clear ba?
Yes, po.
Okay. Nice to hear. So, hello everyone. Good afternoon. I'm sure sana kumain na kayo as a friend. Uh, and as well as you grab your snacks as well together with you as we progress with the event because for sure this will be a blast. This first day would be a blast for every one of us. I would just like to welcome you all. Right now we have 182 million participants. Just kidding, like 182 participants, and it's a good number, I would say. And it only shows that every one of us is really interested and really fired up in preparing ourselves in terms of our progression in the career. Just to give you a little background, this Ready Set Grow event was already planned way back last year when we founded the organization here at PLM. And the reason being that we put this event as a plan or like nilagay namin siya as one of our at least flagship events is because we have seen this problem at least for the PLM students na some of the graduates usually, yes, they get some offers outside and usually pag nag-apply naman sila like nakakakuha naman ng trabaho. But the main problem is they learn how to prepare for their career after college, which is not really much of a problem, I would say. But sometimes kasi dahil late mo na sa start yung career mo, you're quite losing some of the opportunities that have already been, out there na kung siguro mas natutunan mo lang early on would just help you propel more or further with your career. So that is one of our main motivations. That is why we planned and we just really put our hearts into this effort to really put up this event. And I would like to shout out the whole core team of the PLM, of the GDSC PLM for really pushing this forward. Especially our current DSC lead for PLM, Neil Riego, since he was just really passionate about extending the help and the motivation of this said event. Yes, no. Anyways, just to give you some background, no, I think in terms of the careers here in the Philippines, I'd like to state some statistics in terms of the employment rate here in the Philippines. So specifically, let's go on the realm of unemployment. So as of October, this is based from an article from Philstar. Around October daw, there was an unemployment rate October 2020, sorry, there was an unemployment rate of 8.7%. That equates to 3.8 million Filipinos na natanggalan or nawalan sila ng trabaho or specifically wala silang trabaho. And it was also projected that in the next 3 months, which was after October 2020, there were around 4.6 million na mga Pilipinong wala pa ring trabaho. And about 37% of that unemployed Filipinos are those people na youth tayo. And it's kind of sad to hear kasi syempre we have no control over what happened today, which is COVID-19. And COVID-19 just really create a toll in terms of our employment. Madaming nawalan ng trabaho, walang makapag-apply, especially on those specific careers that needs physical interaction. And it's just really saddening as well. And another fact, as said by Dole last 2019, ang nakakasad dito is yung mga usually unemployed are those educated. 'Di ba? It's quite ironic because those who are educated, who finished college, those who has a educational attainment, those sila pa yung mga taong walang trabaho. which is sad, and we need to really face that truth. And lastly, ayun nga din, as I said earlier, 37% of most of the unemployed people are the youth, ages 15 to 24. So as you could see, that could be one of the reasons also why those things happen, because some of the people, specifically the youth, they don't know how they could manage propelling their careers forward. Sometimes they have doubts in terms of how they would market themselves as a person or as an individual. Sometimes they also have like trials in terms of putting up their resume. Di nila alam how to respond in interviews as well, which is saddening. And I've encountered at least a lot of students also who's same age with me na when, for instance, I ask them like how do they work or they propel their career, they don't know how to do. So that is why for GDSC, we are really pushing forward this event because we believe that this event would help you propel forward in terms of your career. So be excited. Please attend the week long. I know it's week long, mukhang nakakapagod, but we promise you that the effort of attending is really worth it during the end. And as the main motivation of this event, we would like you all to be ready in terms of setting yourself to growth. So that's all. I hope everyone will be excited to progress forward with the program and in the next 5 or 4 days. I forgot, but yeah, excited to meet you guys in the next few days. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kuya Miggy, for those wonderful remarks. I'm sure our participants are already thrilled just by your so-called quotable quotes. It was nice to hear from Kuya Miguel on how this event was created and planned. I've also seen how the GDSC PLM core team prepared for this event. So for sure, this event will be a blast. So unemployment is really a problem here in the country. So it can be due to the lack of knowledge and lack of opportunities. So me too, we believe that this event will be of help to those who are worried about their career paths.
So indeed, actually, I got to agree with that since I myself is one of those people who are already looking into what career should I really pursue. So I'm really looking forward to this today's event. So yeah, before we proceed with our first speaker, watch out as we have a surprise for you later that will surely excite you more. So look forward to it, guys.
So I think our participants are already beyond excited. So in that case, we will not prolong everyone's curiosity. For our first speaker, he is the founder of 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗏, a first mover in career innovation dedicated to accelerating social impact by helping organizations connect to the right talent faster through their leading edge AI powered sourcing and screening solutions. So he is also an impact driven social entrepreneur with passion for social innovation and system design for social change. So without further ado, let's all welcome Mr. Anas Ali to discuss why should you pursue career development while still a student. Let's all give him a virtual round of applause.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Hello.
Fantastic. Good afternoon to you all. It's an honor to be invited to provide this keynote portion of Ready, Set, Grow. First of all, I want to thank the team behind this event and congratulating them for doing such an amazing job in putting this together. And I also admire the fact that you saw the importance of having such theme around the event, gearing up the future talent for the workforce ahead and looking at how we could venture into different possibilities in different areas that we might not have thought of, as I'm sure many of you are in tech degrees. I also want to congratulate all of you participants today for deciding to join this career-changing event, which I'm sure it will be. So at the end of the day, you will take in as much as you're willing to lean yourself in. So in this session, rather than being a typical and traditional keynote speech, I would try to make it a bit more interactive, and hopefully you get something out in the end as well. So with that, I'll share my screen. And let me know if you can see the screen. So moving into the theme of this talk, why should you pursue career development while still a student? I'd like to start off by sharing a bit about myself and my stories as someone who went through a career change and transitioned from the development sector, working for United Nations, working for nonprofit organization, to the tech industry, where my current focus is around career development and how I ended up finding my own purpose in life as well. But more importantly, what you can do to find yours. So I was born and raised in Thailand, where I pursued my undergrad degrees in international studies at 𝗥𝗽𝗵𝗲𝗹 University. And when I was in college, I really wanted to become a diplomat. I had people around me, friends who were in foreign service. So I spent a lot of time trying to, pass the exam, which has less than 1% success rate, right? So I spent a lot of years studying, prepping for the examination. I tried doing things that would help me position myself in that sense. So I joined the debate club. Also, I set up Model United Nations Society in my university, which was one of the Model UN clubs in Thailand. Aside from extracurricular activities, I also volunteered in different places, trying to learn, trying to get exposed in the social impact ecosystem, so to speak, right? So I ended up interning at Ministry of Foreign Affairs for a few months, only to realize that I didn't enjoy it as much. It was not so much about what we did, but it was around the culture. It's around how things are done. So I decided it wasn't designed for me. It didn't align with my passion and where I wanted to go. And after that, I went into other volunteer programs, particularly with UNESCO. It was Youth Peace Ambassador. And yeah, so it was the Youth Peace Ambassadors program where I got exposed to the world of UN, and I had the chance to really interact with a lot of young people, starting to work in youth advocacy, particularly around Millennium Development Goals. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. Essentially, it's a predecessor of Sustainable Development Goal, the UN goals that we currently have. Right after that, I decided that, in order to pursue my ambition and my curiosity in the social impact sector, i.e. to get into the UN, I needed to have a master's degree because that's the degree that most UN agencies would require of you. So, so I decided to take a master's degree in the UK in international law and development. So coming back from that, I was fortunate enough to be positioned to be in the right place, right time. And I had the opportunity to start working at the UN. It was International Labour Organization, where I focused largely around labor migration and project coordination. I ran a lot of campaigns. And at that point in time, it satisfied my curiosity. I didn't know what I wanted to do, even if I did have my master's at the time. But being able to put myself in the action and trying these different types of work really allows me to be more confident and sort of figured out the path or the type of work that I thought I was going into, right? So I was doing a lot of youth developments as well. After the UN, I moved a bit into the NGO world. I joined Amnesty International as a regional activism and youth coordinator. I also joined another leading international NGO, which is Plan International. Again, it was about youth unemployment. It was about youth empowerment as well. So the more I venture into these specific areas of work, it really allows me reinforce some of my assumptions, right? And what I wanted to mention also is that sometimes you don't have to actually know how you're going to implement or actualize what you want. You may have an area of passion, but sometimes only when you get to do it would you only realize whether is this how you want to pursue it or not. So I'm going to clarify what I'm saying there in just a bit, right? So my experience within the UN for many years gave me a lot of insights, and I really enjoy the work. I really enjoy a lot of benefits that the sector provides, meeting a lot of interesting people. I remember having to travel every second week in different countries. So I constantly finding myself checking in different hotels in different places and meeting new people and getting all these perks, right? Being part of the UN system, as well as large international organization. And I started to realize now I knew what my passion, my interests lie in, right? But just the how, so the interest was, of course, trying to shape the society, trying to contribute positively in these areas that I was involved in. But soon enough, I recognized that, the UN is such a big machine. It involves a lot of decision-making processes. There are many processes before certain decisions are made. And I increasingly become someone who wants to do things, really quickly and wanting to try something and fail very quickly. And also the opportunities to experiment with the projects, with the social change that we want to achieve was quite limiting. So at the same time, I was surrounded by a lot of founders and entrepreneurs, and I started noticing the way they, so the theory of change, if you're familiar, or the mechanics with which they use to affect what they want to affect, the change that they want to make, is slightly different. And I feel that there are more flexibility in also shaping this sort of change in the society, right? And you have entrepreneurial methods around doing things. You have lean startups, if you're familiar. You have, I'm currently running an agile team. I'm running sprint. So it's a type of methodology or ways of affecting or making a difference that I wasn't used to before. So the approach that I was sort of toying with became very clear, and it turned out that, doing things through entrepreneurship was the way to go for me, right? So then after being part of the social impact sector, the UN, the NGO for a long while, I decided in the end to pursue my social entrepreneurship journey, which places me now as a founder of a tech startup. So yeah, it's very interesting in a sense because I never would have thought that I would, transition or become part of this ecosystem. But at the end of the day, it's really the journey that you went through and the preparation that I did during my university that had led me to, discover these different pathways, right? And it's about really looking at what you are after in the end. Later, I'm gonna introduce to you one of the practical tools that we have in the hope that you'd find that sweet spot as well. But now you may be wondering, well, I mean, some of the photos of what I did in the past. As you can see, I joined from like grassroots level activities, traveling to rural areas, to appearing on television and making speeches at the high level conferences at the UN, and joining all these different interesting opportunities. But as a dev curate now, just in case you're wondering, so we are career platform focused on social impact sectors, right? So DevCreate, we are tech innovator for the sector, where we provide innovations and solutions. And currently our focus is on recruitment innovation for this global sector. But we're also an ecosystem where we build skills and try to connect opportunities to young people like you guys. Oftentimes, folks in Thailand, in the Philippines, in across the region, graduating without a clear direction. So we're there to bridge from education, from the moment they're about to graduate, to employment pathways. So I'm going to flash out about the sector in just a bit. So our mission essentially is to accelerate social impact through career innovation. As you see, we're an ecosystem. We provide different tools in order to make things better for both job seekers as well as organization, allowing both sides to meet each other more quickly, as well as being able to process the recruitment activities, and at the end of the day, getting the right person on the right job, right? So after many years of my professional life, here I am as a CEO of a tech startup, venturing into untrodden path, trying to bring innovative solution to solving social change in the way that I wouldn't have been doing if I were, still in the same sector. Now, social impact. You can see that my career journey has sort of been anchored on my own interest and calling to do something good for the society, to help the less fortunate, or to create better opportunities in general. Having said that, as I mentioned, it was hardly clear at first as to what I wanted to do, which areas I wanted to focus or advocate for, but only after I brought myself to try these different things through different volunteer experiences, internship positions, did it become only clear what I wanted to do. It was clear back in the days. And of course, these things can change along your career journey as well, and that's fine, right? Important for you is trying to figure out what resonates with you right now, right? And you may have noticed that I mentioned social impact several times, right? So what is social impact exactly, right? I think part of the vision, if I'm not wrong, of the club is really to utilize technology for social good, right? You guys are technical labor of the future. You are one that the world needs in terms of technological adoption, in terms of advancing what we have currently. 5 years from now, it will be different. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about the social impact sector. But first of all, what is social impact, right? So social impact, largely, this is a definition subscribed by a lot of leading organizations, and this is DevCurate's version, right? So social impact for us is a significant change that addresses pressing social challenges and injustice with a goal to generate positive change on people and planet, right? So a key word there is significant change, right? How do we look at bringing scalable and sustainable solution to any specific areas that you may be interested in? I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with sustainable development goals, but for a start, right? I believe that all of us here should at least have one goal that they can aspire to, that they can advocate for, that they can support the cause. Whether that's education, whether that's poverty, whether that's gender equality, life underwater, partnership development. In my case, it was goal number 8, which is decent work, which is around employment opportunities. So since I started working at the UN, the focus was largely around goal number 8. And even I am a founder now, running my own startup. Sometimes I don't feel that it is actually a career transition, right? At the end of the day, the goal that I'm trying to address, or at least contribute in my part, is still the same, right? So I didn't feel like it was a traditional sense of career transition, moving from one sector to the next. Now, just to expand on this, if you see this image, right? When we talk about social impact, you may think about the traditional, sectors like NGO or United Nations, or charities, or you may even think about unpaid jobs. But in actuality, social impact sector is much bigger than that. You can see that includes social entrepreneurship. It includes impact consulting. It includes impact investing. It covers a lot of areas that your skills, no matter what skills you are, whether you are a software engineer or you're completing your other degrees, these degrees would be all the degrees would have a place in the sector. You just have to identify and explore where you could exercise those skills. But of course, before you know where you have to exercise those skills, you have to know what you want, right? And so, I mean, back to what I was saying earlier, it doesn't matter, there may come a point in life, maybe 5 years from now, where you move from one sector to the next. But for me, I didn't feel like I was changing the sector because I knew what I was interested in, and I knew what my core value and what the purpose I was trying to drive. So as for you, again, the world of work is really changing. It's no longer the case where if you study X, you have to end up in sector Y, right? As you can see, you can consider different sectors, many of which are giving more importance nowadays to create positive social impact or social change. We started seeing ESG, right? Environment, social, and governance framework being applied by big corporations. You have sustainable development goals that go beyond just CSR, corporate social responsibility, right? So they're increasing attempts to both maximize profit, but at the same time, creating purpose or creating impact onto the community, the society, people, and planet. We also know that technology will transform the world in the end, right? And it could uplift the society and solve a myriad of social problems and in an accelerated way, let's say. So as tech student, you are really in a unique position to play a role towards positive change. And this is simply because technology will increasingly be pivotal for social change in the end, like no questions asked, right? So now, speaking of purpose, let me see. Yeah, we'll get to that in a bit, but I mentioned purpose a few times earlier. So let's deep dive a little bit into what I'm talking about, right? So let me ask you if you know what your purpose is, first of all. Do you know your life purpose currently? Does anyone know what their career purpose is right now? If you're in second year, maybe it's a little, vague and blurry, but just imagine if next week you are done with your college and you're graduating next week. Do you know what that purpose is? Because if you don't, then it will be difficult for you to, to put yourself in position where you are going to be presentable and marketable and employable for a lot of employees, right? So knowing this purpose will be very critical steps in crafting your career path. Why? Because the studies, like a lot of studies basically in the past few years that I follow at least, show that as high as 70% of graduates, including in our region, do not have clear ideas about the future career path. And largely, like Juan was mentioning earlier, it was because we only think about career after we graduate. But the whole point about achieving our career goal is preparing now, right? So this is why career development at this stage in life is so crucial. And linking the purpose back to what your generation, Generation Z as well as Y, are looking for currently. We know that 51% will not work for a company that doesn't have strong social and environmental commitment, right? 74% say that their job will be more fulfilling when they get to have opportunity to make a positive impact. And as high as 96% of the current generation or new generation are concerned about environment and expect that their future employers will have some steps or plan in becoming more sustainable. I'm not sure how much you resonate with these statements, but these are global figures. And as far as I know, and training and talking to a lot of recent grads, I feel that these statements I find them to be true. And this is also just to reinforce the fact that we are shifting towards a more socially conscious, environmentally conscious workplace. And it's something that you might not have thought of it so far about these things, but it's worth pondering over these things, right? Think about your career option in the future, where you could add value, adding your critical, your soft skills, your hard skills, your technical skills, as well as contributing back to something beyond yourself, beyond the company, right? So, but the other thing in the recent past that we've learned is that one can make decent living while doing good, right? And pursuing career in also in the social impact space. Now, as future graduates, right? I think you are in an ideal situation and a perfect time to discover your own career path and your purpose. And if you already know what you want to do, I want to congratulate you really. But if you aren't sure, it's never too late. You don't have to necessarily know how you do it yet, right? As in, okay, I want to become an engineer. This is my passion. This is the what. You don't actually have to know how just yet. You just have to start with what you want to do, right? So once you figure out the what, I want you to ask the next question, which is the why, right? Why do you want to do what you want to do? The moment your why is clear, that's when you found your purpose. So it's one of the most effective way to arrive at that destination is through, of course, career development journey. And this week-long event is a perfect opportunity for you to do so. So do lean in, do pay attention and take in as much as you can, right? So each person has a unique career development journey, and it's just about you and your future. So take in as much, and you don't have to be pressured by your peers. Sometimes a lot of us do, right? Try to carve out this career development path and know what the current gaps are. But I just want to introduce this slide to you, right? So anyone can tell me, you don't have to speak out loud, but think about the differences between these three types of work, right? So we have job, we have career, we have calling. What's the difference, right? So if we look at job, it's essentially this encapsulates what the job is, right? I will not do unless I'm paid to do it, right? When it comes to career, I'm paid to do well in what I do, right? It's a professional endeavor. But what about calling? The calling boils down to I must do even if I'm not paid. This may sound slightly extreme, but a lot of time callings is essentially what represents your purpose. You don't have to pursue a career without payment, and that's not the point, but you feel that you wake up every day feeling like it's not a job. Maybe it's a career, but it's beyond career, right? So ultimately, you might not have all the assets, all the skill sets, all the experiences in the world to pursue your calling now, right? But the point is, as long as you know what your purpose is, that's where you can end up one day, right? So before I end, I would like to share one practical tool, as I mentioned earlier, that could potentially help you define your purpose which I hope would help guide you across this learning week as well. Right, so the tool is called 𝗥𝗽𝗵. Some of you might have heard, it's a familiar term already. The 𝗥𝗽𝗵 is a Japanese philosophy. Essentially, what it means is it's the purpose of being, right? So 𝗥𝗽𝗵 is a principle, is philosophy that a lot of Japanese people uphold. It's a principle that actually has translated in longevity. In fact, people live long age because of this principle that they uphold in life, right? So I'm going to quickly explain each part of the diagram. And while I do that, if you have a piece of paper, pen, or something to take note on, please get it ready, right? So 𝗥𝗽𝗵, so there are 4 different circles in this diagram, right? There is what you can be paid for, right? So we try to imagine putting yourself now, if you have all these skills, right? What can you be paid for in the industry, in the marketplace? And then what the world needs, right? Now we're talking about bigger picture. Is what you're going to do, or is what you want to do going to contribute in any way, shape, or form, right? Will it help your community in any ways, right? So think about that. And then what are you good at, right? So this is essentially maybe your technical skills at this stage, maybe if you have had part-time job before, maybe these are the skills or strength, right? It could be soft skills as well that you're good for. And lastly, what you love to do, right? So essentially this is about your passion. And if you have all these 4 combined, right, it is usually almost impossible for you to essentially craft everything and have a perfect 𝗥𝗽𝗵, because it's often a constant learning journey. But just for the purpose of today, moving into this week long of learning, I want you to take away your purpose with it. You're coming to the next session, you're coming to tomorrow's session. I want you to be able to craft your first version of purpose, your personal purpose. And how are we going to do that, you may ask, right? So you ready? All right, so in the what you can be paid for, I want you to list 3 things people will pay for you. Just imagine a hypothetical situation in the Philippines, in your communities, right? What can you do that you could be compensated for? Like what skills or what assets do you have, right? So you can just list one thing if you can't think of more, right? So that's question number 1. Question number 2, what are 3 ways you want to contribute to the world, right? I've given you my examples, my stories, my journey about wanting to, contribute to folks who are less privileged, to access better career opportunities, through trainings. And what about you? What are some of the ways that you want to give back, right? Pay forward for the Philippines, or, at large, or in a smaller scale in your community, right? 1 thing or 2 is fine as well. I give you 10 seconds to think about this one. Okay, we're gonna move to question 3. And if you have 1, it's fine, right? For now. You could continue later on as well. So question 3, what are 3 special qualities you have? So think about, are you a talkative person? Are you a communicator? Are you a people's person? Or are you an analytical person? Like what are those qualities that you have? You're honest, you're very, wobbly, you're friendly, right? List some of those qualities that you think you do have, or your friend told you about yourself. Yeah, this one's probably not very difficult, so we can move on to the last one. what are 3 things you want to do for the rest of your life? This is essentially your passion. And I just want to say that your passion can change, right? 3 years from now, your passion could be different. You know, what's more, you can have many areas of passion as well. You may know it now, you may have one now. In the future, you may have 2 or 3 different areas of passion, and that's fine. What matters is what are 3 things that you feel that you can enjoy doing. It doesn't feel like a job, right? It doesn't feel like a task. Everyone's good with their answers? If you could give me your thumbs up. All right, we have some thumbs. Perfect. All right, so again, you don't have to have a perfect answer right now. At least it's a first attempt. And I really want you to be able to bring together what you just wrote, right? So how are we gonna do that? So we're gonna use this structure to fit everything in. We ain't going to be doing it in the reverse order, right? So question number 4, you basically attach to the first statement. So I want to always, the last answers that you have, you wanna put it there, right? So I want to always answer from question 4 using my answer from question 3, 2, answer from question 2, and I can do these through, that's your first answer. So I want you to write down these short phrases. I want to always using my to, and I can do these through. So you want to fill the gap, right? You want to fill the blank with what you just looked at earlier. Is everyone good with putting together their purpose statement? So this is essentially your purpose statement. Is the statement that represents your interests, what you love, the skills you have, your passion, and potential areas that you can contribute back to the society, right? Okay, I'm gonna give you perhaps 30 seconds. If you need some time, do feel free to, you know, keep the screenshot of this slide, and always you can go back this evening, you know, or after this event, you gain a lot more insights and tips and learnings, you know, trying to come back to it and check with yourself, right? Sometimes reality check, self-assessment is very important. Come back to it and, you know, compare the version you have today and the version after the 26th, right, of this event, and see if something inspired you. Maybe there will be little details that you might not have thought of now, right? So give yourself permission to, you know, have yourself a statement, right? So I'm gonna continue from this slide. I hope you have had the chance at least to put together. Oh, there are some colleagues who shared. All right, I'm gonna read off as an example. Thank you very much, Francisco. So I want to always solve problems using my analytical skills to help people be literate with technology and leverage it to help society. And I can do these things through programming. That's fantastic. That's a beautiful purpose statement. Amir, if I said your name correctly. Thank you so much for sharing. That's fantastic. So have your own purpose statement and always check in. Again, your purpose can change according to your passion, your new skills attainment, right? Have a check every now and then if you want as well. So with that, I hope you were able to take away one thing or two from this talk. if there was one thing to walk away with, I hope you walk away with a new perspective on your career path while seeking to craft your own purpose in life. Right? Be open to the market, be open to the world because it will change. The world of work is changing very, very rapidly. You know, the notion of sectors is also become a little bit blurry as we go, right? So there are more overlaps in what you can do, which sector you can enter. And I hope by this minute as well, you have gathered yourself to get ready to set up new goals and to grow with priceless learning from this week-long event that the team has prepared for you. So I included 2 links there as a resource for you leaving during this week as well. You can go to 𝗥𝗽𝗵𝗲𝗍 where you could register as a member. When you create, somebody mentioned about CV or profile building as well earlier. We have a free CV template that is a standard template recognized by the social impact sector as well as many other sectors. So you could, by way of signing up, you'll be able to create the CV and download it as well. So I highly encourage you to sign up as our talent member. Being a member, you will also get job recommendations. So every day on your personal dashboard, you receive a list of jobs that the system curates based on your profile skills, right? And you can react to the jobs, whether you like it or not. The more you react, the more you get the right opportunities. There are also internship positions there. We continue to add more of these opportunities. And we're also currently growing our ecosystem in the Philippines. So hopefully there will be also more opportunities out there in the Philippines. And secondly, do connect with us on our Facebook as well for other professional development opportunities, trainings. We actually have ongoing trainings as well you may find interesting. So do make sure you check out. And yeah, and if you like to stay connected, feel free to also add me on LinkedIn. All right, so with that, thank you very much. I really wish you everyone a great week, and amazing learning that you'll have to come. Thank you.
Wow. So thank you so much, Mr. Anas. I think Sir really left us a lot to ponder on. So his own experiences and journey towards career development is indeed truly inspiring in a way that a lot of us can relate. A lot of us are still in that phase we're in. We're venturing to a lot of different areas that hoping to find a real passion or what resonates with us and all. And it just shows how it is important to really just take your time and explore, because eventually you'll come into that point where you'll find something that interests you or you want to do for life, or something that can make you contribute positivity to others. So I like also how Sir Anna said that the whole point of her career is just by starting now. So you don't need to get it all figured it out. It's just that you need to actually start doing it now. It's also nice that we have something like that create to connect us youth with different opportunities. So yeah, for all of our participants, if you manage to finish your ikigai, kindly share it with your social media and tag DevCreate and GDSC PLM. Yeah, so share it, guys. So let's see each other's ikigai and what we really want to do in life.
So I like the term career changing event for Ready Set Grow. Like we really do hope that we'll be able to change something to the attendance careers. So I think we always have that obstacle where we don't know what to do. However, what's important is that we try to act upon it and work hard to find that thing that we want to do. So you've also mentioned about sustainable goals. Actually, Google Developer Student Clubs have this event called Solutions Challenge. It's a hackathon where they address any of the sustainable goals. So you've also mentioned too about goals. So to be honest, during your talk, it made me realize on how I'm still lost with my career path despite doing good in university. Thus, I'm definitely going to reflect on myself after this event. So I'm sure everyone also has a lot of takeaways and questions. Therefore, please see our Zoom chat box or comment section for those who are watching from our Facebook live stream, as we have sent the link of Slido where you can send your questions for Mr. Ali. You can also go to the website of Slido and type in the code RSGQNA1. Again, the code is RSGQNA1.
So yeah, I guess let's proceed to the questions. I'm gonna read the first one. So, sir, do you have any advice for us students on how to be successful in finding our own path?
Should I answer one by one?
Yes, sir. You can answer the first question.
Okay, cool. Thank you for the questions, everyone, and happy to get the chance to talk to you a bit more. How to be successful in finding your own path, right? Like, you can't find your path if you don't know what you stand for, or what the key ingredient, right? You don't know, you can't cook chicken adobo if you don't know, the recipe, so to speak. So I would suggest you try to identify the good place to, in terms of interest, right? Because deep down, everyone has their own advocacy or like something they want to change for the better. It doesn't have to be society, it can be environment, it could be infrastructure, it could be other things, right? So and as our colleague mentioned, SDG is a great place to start, and go through the 17 goals and spend some time looking and studying them, right? Trying to understand what they represent, and decide to have one goal for yourself. Once you have that one goal, then it's easier for you to unpack your career path by looking at which organizations are relevant to the specific goals. Maybe is education, right? So education, you have a lot of organizations, both in the Philippines and overseas. UNESCO to begin with, the big one. You have Teach for the Philippines. You have a lot of other organization, and then look into how they accept applications, right? So identify these big areas that you're interested in. Identify the organization relating to that. But the next thing you can do also is to list top 2 or 3 skills that you have, right? And ask yourself if these skills are relevant to these organizations that you're aspiring to be part of, right? So that's how you start building your career path. And I hope also that the personal statement earlier can help you be more clear, because what it does is gives you a bit more clarity about, purpose. It might not be a career purpose, but sometimes personal and professional purpose, they are very much interlinked, right? So you have to start from something that is more foundational, let's say. So I hope that's helpful.
Of course, thank you so much for that one, Mr. Anas. So for the next question, did you always know what you wanted to do or pursue in your life, or were there any outside factors that helped you decide the path that you wanted to do?
Oh, it's a really good question. I believe that we know what we want to do to varying degrees, whether like from I'm not sure at all to, okay, I definitely want to become a humanitarian worker, working in the field, working, like out in the sun, helping communities or refugees, or just a random example. So within this spectrum, right, you basically have to figure out, and you only will figure out when you get yourself to try different things. So in my case, I knew that I wanted to somehow position my career in a way that I could also contribute to the betterment of a community, of society. And that was only because I was privileged enough, and I got several opportunities, education-wise, and opportunities to be in the position where I was able to put myself in. It was because of other people. So for me, I knew at the time that that was really about opportunity giving. It's about providing space. And the more I get myself into action, I realized that yes, it is. There are certain elements of it that I ended up disliking like becoming a diplomat, right? Like I would not know if I didn't put myself into that internship, or I didn't know if I didn't have career counseling and people asking me questions, right? So I would say I knew, but then it wasn't clear until later on. And at this stage in life, in my career journey, it's become clear, right? It's become clear in a sense that I want to work on career development. I want to work on professional development. I want to connect people to career opportunities. I want to improve the whole infrastructure of this sector, which is not as innovative as other sectors, let's say, right? So this is really my passion and what I want to focus on. And technology is a huge part of that because I believe that it could accelerate the impact that I want to make, right?
Grace, I think you're on mute.
Sorry about that. Okay, so let's proceed with another question. How were you able? Okay, let's go with the first one. What should we do if we suddenly felt uninspired?
Good question again, whoever asked that. Yes, I think that the moment of feeling uninspired often stems from the lack of direction, or you just get too overwhelmed, right? But often it's a lack of the the lack of purpose, the lack of options, right? So you feel like, okay, I'm about to graduate, but I don't know what to do. I don't want to work. I don't want to do anything. And that is a common phenomenon. So, don't stress yourself out. Don't beat yourself for that, right? It can be a very normal feeling. So a few things that I can suggest if you feel uninspired is to be inspired. How can you do that? Look at I think it's really about making connection, right? If you already know what you want to do, at least if you this is the industry, this is the job areas that I think I have an inkling, I feel that I want to venture, and trying to connect yourself with those who already been there, right? One way to do it is you could randomly connect to people on LinkedIn, right? You will find quite surprising, in fact, that they will be very helpful. They're willing to connect with you more often than not, right? So you want to be able to find information, and people who you could be a source of inspiration, who has done what you want to do, right? So connecting with them, and relatedly find a mentor. I do believe that every one of us should have a mentor. um, doesn't have to be a coach, or you don't have to pay for a professional coach. If you can afford, it's a great option as well. But if not, seek out with your senior, with the alumni, or reaching out. Like if there's a profile on LinkedIn, you find like this person is really where I want to be, right? Like really humbly reach out to them and ask if they could. I have people that I didn't know reach out to me and say, hey Anas, I really admire what you do, this and that. Would you have 15 seconds? I really want to get to know more about your industry or what you do, how you get there, right? So it takes that a bit of energy to get out of inertia, right? That is essential. But at the end of the day, if you have the people, establish your network early on is a great way to also build your capital, build your connection, and find mentors. I'm sure there are also a lot of books that that could inspire you in gaining these new ideas as well. But I think people is going to be really helpful, because at the end of the day, it's about human connection. So do try to give yourself and create those opportunities as much as you can.
So thank you for that one. Make sure to take note of what Mr. Anas have said. He mentioned about LinkedIn. Actually, we have talks about LinkedIn for the next few days. So make sure to stay tuned for that one. So next question, how were you able to cope with the competitive professional world?
You guys have brilliant questions here. Um, that I felt that when I first entered the United Nations, I feel I had to prove myself every day. I had to go extra mile just to be accepted, to be recognized, right? Like when people say, oh, Anas, you did such a good job. As a young professional, like junior at the time, I feel really, like I basically feel very happy when that happened. And it is going to be less, this is not going to go away, competitive professional world. But what's going to make it less daunting is the why that I mentioned earlier. So if you know why you're there, right? You know what you want to do, whatever, how, you can do it in different way. But if you know why you want to stick, in this position for now, right? Like you decide, okay, I'm going to focus on software engineer working for a startup or working for whatever. If you know your why, right? Like your reason behind it, essentially, I'm going to stay here for a year or two just to learn as much as I want. But I know that I have to be competitive in order for me to be marketable, right? So of course, when you're in competitive scenarios, comes stress and a lot of anxiety and things like that. This is going to be a knock-on effect. But as long as before it happened, try to give yourself the answer, or have this answer. I know why, therefore I'm just going to plow through that as much as I can. If it's too much, if I do it, if I don't end up liking it, I'm going to pull back. It's fine. It's not quitting. It just means that this is probably not what I want to do in the end, but I gave myself permission to try, and that's great, right? So know your why as much as you can. Get out there and and do your best.
Okay, that's right. Just like what Sir Anas said, you need to know your why in order for you to have a vision how to market yourself out there. So yeah, the next and unfortunately the last question is how to stay on track considering that there are a lot of distractions and hindrance on our goals and what we want it to be.
I wish I could get the person to elaborate a bit, but how to stay focused, basically, right? There are a lot of distraction. It is true. It is true that we are living in, like around me, I have my phone, I have my other laptop that I share screen, I have this iPad, I have a lot of gadgets, and these in themselves are distraction. Sometimes you just have to, when you are in the work environment, there are many different tips, right? There's a Pomodoro technique, which means that you work for every 20 minutes, focus, gadget free. After 20 minutes, you reward yourself 5 minutes, do whatever, and you come back. And this is a good technique that I've used myself as well. You can check out, like there are many variations. And then if you look more broadly, right, we spend 80,000 hours of our lifetime working, 1/3 of our day. All right, so that's a lot. If you want to focus on what we want to do, especially once you enter into the workforce. So if you separate your 24 hours into 8, right? Like 8 for working, 8 for leisure, 8 for resting or sleeping. So while you're in the first 8, right, it's important for you to be effective, because if you're not effective and efficient in this 8 hours, it could be whatever number, right? Like I'm just simplifying. It will affect other parts of your 24-hour, right? So this is just like, this concept didn't come to me when I was your age. It came later, and it's very simple yet powerful. You're going to compromise other areas in your life if you don't distract. But then, try to use you can try that technique that I mentioned. But then I think what often we have so much going on. And one of the things that I may add is that I'm not a believer of multitasking. I do believe wholeheartedly that multitasking is, I mean, for some might work, for the very minority, but for most of us, it will never work, because our brain is wired in a way that we can focus on one thing at a time. So change the word multitasking to task switching. So you're only switching from one task to the next, right? Give yourself, like if you use Pomodoro technique, in this 20 minutes, I'm just gonna plow through this. I'm gonna have my snack, but then I'm gonna still focus on what I'm doing, coding, studying, whatever. I'm gonna have a break, right? I'm gonna switch to the next task. Sometimes when you have like email popping, you have this notification, you have this phone, like, it's easy to get lost, and there's no way to around it, right? So try to have some sort of structure, try them out, right? Experiment if they work. I think it would help. And it's a good question also because in the long term, it translates to your productivity in general. And the level of productivity you're able to achieve correlates with the level of happiness in life in general. And if you know how to be productive, to be focused now, it will hugely benefit you in the future. Once you're in your mid-career senior position, you will have this, like, it's essentially about soft skills as well. It's about self-management. So I really do encourage you to try those, right? Like, or go online and search for different tips as well. Yeah, good question.
So, yeah, thank you so much, Sir Anas. Unfortunately, we will not be able to answer the further questions, but we ask you to stay tuned on day 2 and day 3 for networking and LinkedIn topics. So yeah, I could really relate at that multitasking part because I am the worst in multitasking. I can only take this much, so I try to do one thing at a time. So yeah, we will now proceed with the awarding of certificate. So, to express the gratitude of GDSC PLM, we present the Certificate of Appreciation. The Google Developer Student Club's PLM is hereby awarded this Certificate of Appreciation to Mr. Anas Ali in grateful appreciation for imparting his dedication and valuable insight to share his knowledge in opening keynote, Why Should You Pursue Career Development While Still a Student? To lighten up and inspire the participants of GDSC PLM, for its week-long series of talks and workshops of Ready Set Grow given this 22nd day of November in the year of 2021. Again, thank you so much, Sir Anas Ali.
Thank you very much for this, and best of luck to you all. Thank you.
Okay. But before we move on, let's have a short photo op with the speaker, with Sir Anas Ali, and the participants. May we ask Mr. Okay, of course, Mr. Ali and the participants to open their cameras. And may we ask Kimberly to help us with the photo op? Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Kim and I will be taking a quick snap with Mr. Anas for our photo op. So may I ask everyone to turn on their cameras?
So nice to see faces. Wow. Hi, humans. Hi, guys.
Can you please give me a minute and let's wait for the others to open their cams. There are a lot of us here, so we have 195 participants. So I guess it will take a minute. Okay, I guess that's everyone. I will start taking a snap now. We have 8 pages, so um, I'll take the first one. So give me your biggest smile in one. Wait, hold on. 1, 2, 3, smile. And thank you. And then I'll I'll take a snap again for the second page. Okay, in 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you. For the third page.
your knowledge with us. So, to all our participants, we are still getting started. We still have two more speakers for today to share their expertise with us. So, Grace, what do we have next?
Yeah, so I know all of our businesses are already excited. But before we proceed, let us first give thanks once again to our following sponsors: DGY Academy, Datacamp, FranchiseManila.com, Boyer, Point West, and Engineering Wins PH for sponsoring today's event. So for our next speaker, he is currently an advisor at education.ph and a community hero and co-leader of the Amazon Web Services User Group Philippines since 2013. He is also a skilled business technology consultant with more than a decade of IT experience in information systems, software, and web on various platforms and business models. So without further ado, let us all welcome on our virtual floor Mr. Rafael Francis Kisimbing to discuss upskilling, amplify your professional careers. Let's give him a virtual round of applause.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here and thank you for having me as one of your guest speakers for Ready, Set, Grow. I'm very excited to share to you my professional career advice on how you could amplify your upskilling. I'd like to do this. I would have like to do this live, but unfortunately, I am currently at a different time zone at the moment. So I hope you can give me the feedback after instead using a form that I have prepared. So to introduce myself, I'm Rafael Francis Kisumbing. I have 15 years of experience in software development. I started mostly in the web. I have open source as my my tech of choice, primarily on Linux, Apache, PHP, MySQL, and I am constantly, I'm a community leader. I'm constantly helping out people in the AWS or Amazon Web Services community. And I also have a certification since 2013. And I do help out startups as well. So if ever you decide to build a startup, I can also bridge you to credits, training, VCs, so that your startup can grow. Okay. So these are my certifications. So I've racked up a couple, and you've noticed, or at least I started my certification journey with AWS. I didn't take up a lot of certifications with other providers, right? But I'll tell you why later on why I decided to take up certifications, particularly in AWS. So let's start off with IT trends, right? So as we upskill, okay, it is not just our personal skills, but IT in general is getting more and more complicated, perhaps, or even there's a direction to IT. So the mature ones in terms of IT presently, we have customer experience and digital channels. E-commerce is here with us. We now have very large Amazon.com, Lazada, Shopee, right? In terms of our banking, right? We now have our apps. All of these are currently present to satisfy our immediate needs. Next, we have grid computing as mature, right? So now services are basically deployed in terms of the back end. They're not just using one machine. Now they're using computational power that's actually powered by several fleets. And if you look at things like animations, right, you have render farms where there's actually a lot of servers that are doing this kind of interconnectivity or cluster computing. Presently, we have this wide adoption. Okay, so it's basically close to mature. We now have data lakes and agile analytics, right? So big data, as I mentioned, now these are prior trends. You'd have to transform them very early. But with data lakes and agile analytics, you can actually now pull the information from unstructured data themselves. No? They don't have to be in a database. They can be flat files like CSV files and etc. that can reside and only is extracted or ETL, extract, transform, loaded on need. Right? They don't end up being in the database for permanent storage. Next, we have cloud's core systems transformation, and we see this in the cloud transformation as well. A lot of our ERP systems, a lot of our inventory, accounting, they're moving towards cloud, and they're even moving to microservices. And lastly, the future, especially this might be your present when you graduate for the students out there. This is now machine learning and AI. Before, previously, only data scientists and PhD had access to these capabilities. But now as developers, we can even run machine learning algorithms using SageMaker, or even just use these AI tools such as computer vision, speech to text, which we can now use and leveraging on the services, or basically the training or the models from large companies before us. We also now have blockchain and distributed ledgers. So if you're into crypto, right, and you understand crypto, basically a lot of that is powered by blockchain and distributed ledgers. So decentralized ledger system, we have things like making sure that the chain, or basically it's immutable, the ledger is immutable, making sure that there is no tampering of data. And lastly, quantum computing. It's actually closer than you think. Quantum computing, instead of just ones and zeros for your capacitor, you can now have both states at the time, which just increases the capacity in IT. So this is very new. It's gaining traction, I would say. So as you can see, that over time, IT, right, this might shift. What is mature will always stay mature. Everything that's in wide adoption will eventually mature, and everything in gaining transaction, people will now adopt that, and there will be future technology that we will gain traction that we might not know of yet at the moment. Maybe it's things like this, this metaverse. We don't know. VR, I would say VR is probably in between wide adoption and gaining traction, right? So these are things that we have to take into account as an IT professional, right? So where is the cloud in this? You hear cloud at present, right? And I wanted to emphasize that in the IT trends, I didn't really mention cloud specifically. I did drop pieces of it, but actually cloud is everywhere. It's in the mature, it's in the wide adoption, it's in the gaining traction. Why? Because actually cloud computing, it now enables IT or IT staff to accelerate and innovate these trends. Previously, these trends would take perhaps decades or even not 20 years to move from one of those pillars, okay, to become mature. But now, with the cloud pace and innovation, these pillars or these three sections, they can move between 2 to 3 years, right? So it's very fast because of cloud computing, and basically the pace that we have to keep up will now increase. Okay. And for those that are curious, what is cloud? No, we've mentioned it. Is basically it's defined as the ability to get IT resources on demand. You basically can ask for it anytime, and that IT resource is requested over internet or over network, and you only pay for what you request. Okay, so basically it's moving from hardware to software for infrastructure, or at least IT resources. I define it as using everyone's community computers securely. So basically it's like a pen of resources that you can use, but very securely. Okay. So when we're talking about the main service types of cloud, and you can see why it can support the mature, the trending, and the wide adoption already, it's because the cloud itself provides you with different levels of services, from infrastructure, where you manage just the application down to the OS, and the hardware is managed by our provider. It can be a platform where we don't manage anymore the operating system. We only look at the application and the data. And it can be a software where basically end users of the software itself. This is versus on-premise, or you have to deploy it on your own in a data center where you'd have to do all of this cabling, all of this power, internet connectivity. You must make sure to your server, right? So you'll see in this diagram in the lower right that the cloud, whether you use it as infrastructure as service, platform as service, or software as a service, it helps you. Okay? It helps you lessen the burden on the items that you have to manage. Okay. So again, when we're talking about upskilling, where do you start, or do you focus on hands-on, right? Do you focus on training? Do you focus on certification, or is it all? Okay. So let's start with hands-on. No? A lot of people want hands-on. Basically, they do via kinetic, right? They want to do labs. They want to experience the itself. They don't like to read the manual, perhaps, right? They want to see it. There's an error. They want to read the error compilation and then debug it from there, and then modify, run it again, see the error. So they're very hands-on, right? So these are very kinetic learners, right? Then we have those that are taking certifications, right? So the people who are usually taking certifications, they are more perhaps readers or auditory, where they would want to read, okay, the manual of any particular technology first. They want to read the white papers, okay? They want to look at testimonials of other people. So they're very, I would say, either very audio, okay, or very visual learners, okay? And really, I would say no method is wrong. We know that, as learners, we have other people tend to learn more via kinetic, or other people learn more via the audio visual, right? So it's not that you can just stick with one, or one is better. But for my sake, for technology, I think for us, we need to do both. Why? Because I think our labs will justify our words, basically our theory, our knowledge, and our theory and knowledge will validate or clarify exactly what we're doing. Okay, so the application of our knowledge and the verification of our application is important when you are in IT. Okay, so what do I mean by this? Basically, what I mean is when you are in IT, okay, you must apply the theories, right? You must apply the theories that you learn. However, and to add to that, you must make sure that the theories you learn are not just bound, okay, bound to what you are exposed of. Okay, so you have to be exposed to a lot of items, to industry standards, and then practice the theory of what you are exposed to. Okay, and in AWS, because I'm an AWS hero, in terms of certifications, there's also our learnings. There's a level of it. You have your fundamental, you have your associate, you have your professional, basically perhaps more towards generalist, where you know a lot. And then you can also take specialty, where you are more deep in terms of a particular field, right? And again, there's no right or wrong in terms of your career choice when you're upskilling. You want to go general, you want to go deep. It really is on your interest, right? So again, I'm just showing this because I personally believe that you should do both a hands-on and a certification or training route to any technology. Okay, again, to any technology, we're not just talking about AWS here. Okay, but first, let's understand, why do people upskill even? Okay, what is the motivation? When you are upskilling, there must be a reason for you to do this, especially after college, right? You'd think that after college, there's no need anymore to learn, but actually that's not true. The first, okay, the first motivation for studying or upskilling is just basic relevancy or keeping up. Okay. And in my photo here, I've shown you a waterfalls or maybe a river, right? So if you are just floating, okay, you will be dragged back. Okay, you'll be dragged back. Okay? You wanna swim, or maybe you want to be relevant, to be at present, you have to actually swim against the tide or against the flow. Okay, because if you don't upskill anymore, you will be forgotten, or you will not grow. In fact, you'll not be able to use the newer technologies. You'll be irrelevant, in other words, right? And if you look at Moore's law, okay, they're saying what you learn now, okay, after a few years or even a few months in IT, it's already obsolete. And if you look at the frameworks of various scripts, JavaScript frameworks, some of them have already been forgotten or lost, or even some programming languages, they are no longer popular or no longer widely supported, right? So again, that's just one of the very basic motivation of why you should upskill, is just to be present or to be relevant. Of course, another motivation is to get skilled, of course, is when you are more skilled than the others, right? Then you definitely have a better skill set, then you can definitely earn more. People who upskill themselves and even get certified earn more, and on average, perhaps 25.9% higher than those who don't. Okay. So again, if you upskill yourself, you have better growth in terms of your salary. And lastly, again, similar to the salary, if you're aiming for promotion, okay, aiming for promotion, then that increases your salary. But aside from promotion, you might be looking for a special job, a special industry or special company that you want to go into. And that particular company, you target that company, it has that particular technology stack, right? So you would be learning that or upskilling for that, so that you are more hireable. Or if you're a freelancer, right, you stand out from other freelancers because you have more skill. Maybe it adds more items and packages that you can offer to your clients, right? Or if you're a career shifter, of course, you want to upskill so that you can find, you're changing jobs or changing into a different medium, right? And again, if my personal opinion, if you are looking at what skills should I upskill on, right? Because IT is so large, look at the market. Okay, look at what programming language does the market employ most, right? Because if you're looking at that, that means there's a higher chance that you'll be able to apply your skill set or what you've learned. There's a higher chance that you get employed because, again, the market share is much larger. Okay, so if you want that immediate, you can look at that market share. Okay, next, in terms of upskilling, okay, you've already learned, you want to now get certification. So why do people get certification? Isn't it enough that you learn the skill? As I mentioned, learn the skill. Why do people get certification? Like myself, why did I decide that I would start certification, especially in AWS? Okay. First is I want to make sure that my knowledge, my interpretation of the the design, the concept is actually recognized. It's validated, and not just validated by me, but it's validated by the industry. Okay, and so that's why these certifications expire, because it has to be revalidated every X years. Okay, so again, if you're going for certification, look for a certification that actually expires. Don't look for certification that is never expiring, because again, your knowledge must be re-verified, okay, recertified every X years because of the trends of IT, which is very fast. Second, again, if you're a freelancer or a consultant, right, having that stamp that you are certified in a particular technology, whether it be again AWS, or you have like perhaps a certification with Kubernetes or other industry standards, that means you have more credibility. A lot of companies actually, one of their requirements to bid, right? Requirements to bid or to gain projects is that your team has X number of certified people. Right? It's a easy way to validate, an easy way to make sure that you're hiring, or that customer is getting a good team in that sense. So if all things are equal, again, if all things are equal, the customer would most likely pick the person or the team that has certification. And lastly is confidence and self-investment. So I've seen this in a lot of the students and peers that I have interacted with. A lot of people look at certification as a way to invest in themselves. Why? Because when you take a certification, you're forced to study a lot of times because you pay for these certifications. So you build that motivation, that confidence to study. And then when you pass it, of course, that is a big boost because you know that you really studied and it was a big investment for you. So if you find a certification that you just breeze through, basically you didn't do any study, you didn't do any research, that certification might not be industry standard, because a lot of these industry standard, they take months for you to really study. Okay, and it shows that when you pass it, you have that confidence boost. Okay, so again, what are your learning and upskilling amplification options? So let's say you're now picking a technology. What can you do specifically to learn and upskill on that? So first is check for official channels and curriculum. A lot of these technology, they actually form a training method that is the official curriculum for them. So again, I'm going to use AWS as an example here. We have the official instructor-led training courses where you go to a class, you attend, you take various curriculums, whether it be a 3-day, 1 day, or 5 days. Okay, so again, these are basically it's like a class. Like if you're a student, this is your syllabus. Okay, so and it's the official one. So whoever created the technology, they make a syllabus with it. Next, look at their learning management system. So of course, earlier it was basically instructor-led. There's a teacher and you're in the big classroom. The next one is look for self-paced learning, right? Look at the official ones. Do they have like a Moodle or a LearnPress or anything that mimics that you can have a course, follow it at your own pace, even if you don't have classmates around. Next, look at workshops, right? So these, again, a lot of these technologies will offer workshops where you are given a lab environment. You are basically, it's a mix between instructor or basically you're given a set of tasks to practice your hands-on. So look at these workshops. Okay. And again, look at also technologies that have partnered with your academe and institutions, right? So again, I'm going to use AWS Educate as an example here, where they have partnerships directly to the institution. If you're an educator, you can also get the materials from Educate or Academy. Again, if you're a student, you can also have access directly to the AWS Educate portal. And as shown here, there's even US veteran for this particular technology. Again, if we're looking at other big players, you'll notice that some schools are actually partnered with XYZ. Some schools adopt this particular technology. So you'll notice that there's already a partnership. So that's an official upskilling with the academe and institutions themselves. Okay. Look at events and webinars to supplement. So if you're collecting certificate of attendance, such as when you're attending an online seminar, here's an example of my name on May 2020, or these short 1 hour, 2 hours webinars, such as this that we're talking on, the Ready Set Go. You can attend here, get yourself immersed, do get inspired, right? This can be your kickoff vantage point to learn and to upskill yourself. Okay. And lastly, another way that you can upskill yourself in a particular technology is work for a technology partner. Okay. So basically, for example, again, I'm using AWS here. If you want to learn about AWS, then look for who are the consulting partners or technology partners in AWS. So if example, I look at, hey, I see that 𝗥𝗽𝗵 is a consulting partner. I want to work with 𝗥𝗽𝗵 because I will learn AWS if I work with them. So maybe let's say you are aiming for Kubernetes or containerization. So do your research in terms of the company that you want to join, right? This company is this particular technology, and then aim for that. Okay, aim for that company or partner. Intern there, choose your interns well so that you can upskill yourself in that particular technology that you're aiming for. Okay, so again, if you're a lot of these companies, again, they do have that internship, or basically they do have that knowledge. They want to gain people of skill, or they will train people for that particular skill because they are consulting partners for other companies as well. Okay. And lastly, of course, let's talk about third-party channels. With third-party channels, of course, we have to approach this in caution. Why? Because they are unofficial learning paths. Okay. They are not really vetted, or they're not really verified, but a lot of these are actually good content, right? So you just have to make sure that you look for reliable third-party channels or content. Look for testimonials. Hey, I learned, or this particular institution is doing some kind of training. Do people have their graduates or that undergo that program actually learn something, applied that, right? Look at comments, look at likes. Okay, is that valid? Try to, if you can, try to ask who's the instructor, or ask for a syllabus ahead of time. So basically, you try to do research before you heavily invest your time on these third-party channels, right? And again, a lot of third-party channels are actually very good. If you look at Tutorials Dojo, which is a Filipino-made company, they're very good in terms of their practice exam. Okay, and again, you'll see it from their testimonials. They're always mentioned in LinkedIn. Thank you, LinkedIn. Look at GitHub projects. See how many people contribute to that project. Learn from it. Things like Iklad Guru, Linux Academy, even YouTube, right? You can learn a lot from YouTube. Double check, okay? Double check, is the content still fresh, or is there a newer content? Okay, because if there's newer content, perhaps the information is already stale, right? So try to get newer content as often as possible, right? So again, not all third-party channels. There's a lot of there are a lot of good ones and a lot of, I would say, not so good ones. So again, you'd have to just ask and check. And when I say ask and check, one good resource to ask and check is the community. So in a particular technology, there's usually a community that is involved with that. So for example, with AWS, there's that AWS user group. I'm showing here the Build Hers for Women. You also have, again, just regular channel for Meetup and Facebook. If a technology is widely adopted, there's usually a community that will build around it. So for example, if you look at perhaps Python, you'll see that there's a lot of people supporting. Okay, there are organic communities that build and grow that, because again, upskilling for them is not just from the official channels. They will also want to ask real life experience of various people. Okay, they want to ask, oh, I just don't want the benchmarks. I want to see how people are experiencing it. How are other people of my caliber experiencing that particular technology? So there's always a community when it's widely adopted. And you'll also notice if that technology, okay, if the technology fades, the community also normally fades. So perhaps here in the Philippines, I can, if you look back into some technologies that were very loud, no, very maybe they did a lot of conferences once a year before, but now they're not so much. Again, perhaps that technology has already fizzled out in a bit. No? So this is one way you can find out or filter what skills you should upskill and should not upskill anymore. Right. So again, just showing screenshots of, as you can see, how people interact, how often people interact. So these are just samples of screenshot. No? You can see that it's seen by 3,000 people. There's active community. Okay, when people post, there's a reply, because again, people are interactive. People want to teach and upskill each other. Okay. And lastly, I'd like to emphasize this for everyone, especially for our learners, is that you should really learn at your own pace. In technology, okay, I know in the academe or in the institution, we have to follow maybe a quarterly or semester. But when you are now working or upskilling, okay, everyone has a different learning pace, right? And of course, perhaps the faster you learn, the better for you, because again, you are promoted earlier, or maybe again you get that higher salary earlier. But in life, personally, it's not a race. Okay, life isn't a race. Life is more towards how you express yourself and how you deal with it, right? So if you're happy with your own pace, don't compare. If you're happy with a certain set of technologies, then keep upskilling on that technology. Okay, so for example, if you're happy with web, right? You're happy with web, then perhaps you don't really need to go towards VR, right? Because you're already happy with that. You see that web is still there in the foreseeable future. Then you don't need to really be a master of everything, or basically jack of all trades, master of none. You can definitely be a specialist, okay, master of something. But of course, if you're a master something, just make sure that something, look for the signs that that something is no longer is still relevant. Okay, so aside from yourself, but also what you're mastering is still relevant. So for example, if you're still mastering, or you are, I don't know, for example, maybe I can't even remember a programming language that's very old. I can't even remember. No? So for example, maybe let's just pick COBOL, right? COBOL, yes, there are people who are masters at COBOL, but how often will they actually get or find systems that are still running on COBOL, right? So at one point, right, they'd have to shift to another mastery. Okay, so again, just to go back to this particular topic, when you are self-learning or upskilling, okay, don't compare yourself to others. Make sure you enjoy the process, because in IT, there is never really a time that you will not learn. Okay, because you have to stay relevant, and to stay relevant is to basically learn. IT, you never stop learning. If ayaw nyo pala mag-aral, mali ang IT, because even for me, at my age, I still have to keep up with technology on various services and trends that are showing up. Okay. So I just also would like to lastly, advocate that if you are planning to do any cloud upskilling and cloud certification, you go with the fundamentals first. If you've heard of a solutions architect or developer associate, right, that certification is $150, or basically around, if 150 is around maybe 7,000, 8,000 pesos, you get one certificate. But if you actually follow a fundamental first, okay, and then move on to associate, there you can get two certificates for $175, or basically close to around 8,000, 9,000. And I think that's worth it to do, so that you actually get the fundamentals right. You get the cost of money, or value for money, for me, is there if you do it like this, because of the discount that you get after passing your first certification, right? Okay, so I'd like to again thank you for listening to me, and I deeply apologize for not being able to deliver this live, but I do hope that you give me your feedback. Perhaps I can come back again and do a live session. Ask me anything, type in terms of the any particular technology, my experience with that. In the meantime, please do try to scan this QR code, or you can type this link, so that you can give me feedback on my particular talk. Perhaps how friendly I am, or you wanted me to go deeper into a particular topic, or even my audio quality, right? So please do give me any form of feedback. It's very helpful as an IT professional and trainer. I want to improve myself always, or upskill myself, right? And how do I do that? Is with data that you provide. So thank you very much, and I hope to be able to catch you soon in one of the events, or in YouTube, or in our future sessions together. Thank you, and goodbye.
So thank you so much, Sir Rafael, for that informative talk about upskilling our careers. We took a dive into technical aspects of cloud computing and its sole purpose on delivering IT-related services. So upskilling is really important, because we really need to adapt to changes, especially that technology is constantly evolving. So just like our events agenda, we really need to ready and set ourselves to grow. So are you still here, guys? If you're still present and active in listening, can you send some heart emojis in the chat and comment section, or react with the heart button?
All right, send your heart emojis, guys. And in addition to what Mao said, Sir Rafael also discussed the importance of certification, which is really beneficial to those who are venturing towards the technology industry or those who are already in the technology industry. So, just like Sir Rafael said, it can serve you a validation to the industry, client credibility, or even a self investment to boost your confidence. Oh, yeah, that's basically it. Unfortunately, we won't be having a question and answer portion on the session, but instead, Sir Rafael provided a feedback form for him to know your insights and comments about this talk. So, yeah, we encourage you to fill up the form, guys.
So you can scan the QR code with your camera of your phone or check the chat and comment section for the link of the form. So we would love it if everyone here would participate. So thank you so much. So for the meantime, we will be having a short break before we proceed to our last speaker for today. So you can take a bathroom break or even grab a snack or drink of your liking as you will need more energy for our next knowledge filled talk. So if you don't, you can take your time and chill for a while waiting. So right now it's 3:04 p.m. So make sure to be back at exactly 3:15 p.m. So for a while we'll be playing the promotional videos of our beloved sponsors. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Anas. I'm the founder of 𝗥𝗽𝗵, the next generation career platform and impact-driven community. Our vision is to help purpose-driven individuals optimize their chances of landing the right career opportunities. This is made possible thanks to our cutting-edge AI technology. So no more endless job hunting, searching, applying, and not hearing anything back. We also organize a range of impact programs, including skills development, pro bono career service, webinars, and social events, connecting people who drive change within the sector across the world. If you are someone who's making a difference in the lives of others, you're not alone. We would like to welcome you, and we look forward to being part of your impact journey.
We realize that high school, college, first job can seem scary. That's why we created 𝗥𝗽𝗵𝗲𝗏 to equip them with tools, connect them to schools, find scholarships, learn online, match their skills to courses and jobs out there. So their future wouldn't be as scary. 𝗥𝗽𝗵𝗲𝗏.
Welcome to Kada Career mga aspiring cadets. Are you ready to go on a journey and grow with all of us? Pero, bago lahat niyan, ano nga ba ang Kada Career? Kada Career is an online platform where people get to learn about new career paths, connect with experts from different fields, and build their networks by being part of a community. In short, a cadet gets to enjoy the 3 C's of Kada Career: content, coaching, and community. Explore the vast content that Kada Career has to offer by joining online webinars and workshops that tackle different topics such as UX, UI design, running online businesses, virtual freelancing, and many more. Also, get to discover and learn more about the careers that you plan to take by understanding the work done, responsibilities, and the skills needed in these professions through Kada Career's Career Exploring Database. Mas natututo ka ba kapag one-on-one ang usapan? Huwag kang mag-alala because Kada Career lets cadets choose a coach that they'd want to consult with through the platform's offered coaching sessions. Get to interact with different
everyone. I hope you already took a bathroom break so you will not miss any part of our next talk. But before that, I would like to remind you all again about the feedback form by Sir Rafael from the last talk. We would really appreciate it if you would send your insights or comments through that form. So if you can, please do, guys. But then let's once again give our thanks to the following companies: DGY Academy, DataCamp, FranchiseManila.com, Boyer Technologies, Point West Innovations Corporation, and Engineering Wins PH for sponsoring today's event.
So I hope everyone is back from their breaks. I know it's just a short break, but I'm really excited to be back because I have something for our attendees. So before we introduce the next speaker, I have a small surprise for our attendees. So one of our sponsors, Pointless Innovation Corporation gave us this special opportunity where you will be able to be part of their Pointless Bootcamp. So what is this bootcamp? With their full stack development bootcamp, they will train you to be a software developer from backend development on Java or Microsoft.NET and front-end development on UI Angular and React.js while being fully compensated as a full-time employee. This opportunity is available to those who already graduated computer science related courses. So more details will be sent via Zoom chat box and comment section of our Facebook live stream.
So, wow, this is really a great opportunity for those who already graduated with tech related courses. So, remember, guys, don't waste any opportunities like this because these kinds of things will help you improve your skills and grow into the person that you aspire to be. So, with that, we will not keep you waiting anymore. So, our next speaker is a search and performance analyst in Ambient Digital Inc. He is a well rounded professional in fields such as analytics, search engine optimization, digital marketing, and website development. Wow. So, without further ado, let us all welcome Sir Raymond Loric Gutierrez to discuss Land Your Dream Job with Passion Project. Let us all give him a virtual round of applause.
Ayan. Hello, can you hear me, guys?
Yes, sir,
Ayan.
loud and clear.
So I'll start by sharing my screen lang for a bit. Okay. So the topic that I've been tasked to discuss for today is about landing your dream job with the help of passion projects. So maybe within this talk later on, we'll be trying to identify what are the things that make us passionate, about certain things in life. So, but before that, I'd like to talk a little bit about the company that I am currently working for. I work for Ambient Digital Incorporated, wherein we provide end-to-end digital services for our clients. So this includes the tools that we need to run successful marketing, wherein we find what do you call this? We try to serve the proper ads to the right clients, kumbaga. So brands come to us to try to advertise their brands for them. So that's Ambient Digital. So yeah. Today, I'll be talking about like five main key topics. And I would like maybe to start by simply defining so that we are all on the same page, about passion and about projects. So that we will all be on the same page because there are a lot of definitions, right, for these items here. And then after these, trying to define these two topics, we'll be moving on to discovering your passions, wherein I'll try to help you maybe try to identify uh, what is a passion or what are the things that makes you passionate about certain things, and then putting it all together in forming a passion project or trying to understand a little bit clearly on what I think is a passion project in general. And then with all of that considered, hopefully using all of these skills combined to land the perfect dream job. So later on, if you have questions, please do let me know. And if, for example, I cut off or break off during my talk, please let me know so that dire-diretso tayo kumbaga. So yeah. Okay, so the first point that I want to discuss today is about passion. So as I said a while ago, there are a lot of definitions of passion nga. Siguro as students, you're thinking of things already that ano nga ba ang passions ko? What are the things that keeps me interested? What are the things that um, you know, makes me happy, mga ganyan. So I think that this definition is one that is very relevant for our talk for today, for our discussion points for today, is that passion is a strong feeling. So highlight on the strong feeling of enthusiasm or excitement. So something, excitement for something or something or about doing something, sorry. So in life, there are a lot of things that you will encounter. There are various tasks that you will be, you know, um, encouraged to do, maybe. Or as a student, you'll be thinking of, there will be things that will come into your life na parang, I have to do this or I have to do that, parang ganyan. Or what are the things that I should do, parang ganon. So I believe, personally, that's why natutuwa ako dito sa banner na to, is to do it with passion or not at all. So there are certain things or tasks in life that if, for example, you do them just for the sake of doing them, they start to become, monotonous. They start to become routinary, parang ganyan. But if you find the certain, spark of joy in the little things that you do, then it in itself will be, something that will give you a better outlook in life. So understanding that passion is imbued in almost everything we do is already in itself something that will help us grow. Kumbaga, parang ganyan. Okay. And the next item for discussion is project. So as passion a while ago is very strong on emotions, project naman, it's more of something that is an individual or collaborative enterprise that is carefully planned. Kumbaga, if you think about projects, it's something that has a process, something that has a system, and something that attains a particular goal or something that you want to achieve. So if you think about it, it's more of the logical side of things naman. So the passion is more of the emotion, and then the project is more of the logical step by step on how to solve it. So for the sake of this discussion, this is what I think we hopefully can agree upon, the definition of these two terms. Ayun. So in trying to understand what are the different passions, I think the number one question you would want to ask yourself is, what makes me happy? Parang ganon. What are the small things that in my everyday life make me happy? What are the things that keeps me excited? So there are certain examples, like for example, long walks on the beach, kunyari, yan. Cultural or historical aspects, learning about the history, maybe nature. Um, Yun, meditation maybe, or simply just relaxing or sleeping, mga ganyan. And then wildlife, yan. um, Sports maybe, maybe a little bit more of extreme sports, yung mga paragliding, ganyan. Snorkeling, mga ganyan, or water sports. There are also activities such as maybe just observing, kumbaga, nature in general. And then rock climbing, yung mga ganyan, mga kunyari, if you think about more extreme sports na ano, um, bird watching, and there are a lot of examples that you can think about that would make you interested or sparks, some sort of joy into your life. It doesn't necessarily have to be part of your course or field. That's one thing I want to reiterate on this talk today. That anything that makes you happy is what makes you happy. You cannot control that, diba? So if you are, for example, in the field of technology or something, and then you think that your passion is related to something entirely different, then don't be disheartened. Later on, I will show you that everything is interconnected, kumbaga. So once you have already identified things that make you happy, maybe you can list down certain things in your life, like right now, traveling, mga ganyan, vlogging, TikTok, ganyan. So what are the things that make you happy? Think about it like that. And then the next thing that I want you to think about is, what are the things that make you less happy about the things that make you happy? So it's a little bit confusing, pero like, of course, if you are doing something that makes you happy, there are certain obstacles or hindrances that stops you, kumbaga, from attaining your goal or becoming happy. So for example, for my case in particular, I am particularly happy, going outdoors and doing nature stuff. I am a member of a mountaineering group when I was in college. So things that make me less happy are the things that impact the environment, for example. So this can be, syempre medyo, this is a little bit blowed up, but if there are certain small obstacles or small nuances, kumbaga, that you can think of that makes you, less happy about your passions. Because sometimes if you leave it, unchecked, it will destroy, kumbaga, your passions. You cannot enjoy your passions without thinking of the things that make you less happy. So when I think about the next thing that I want to think about the things that make me less happy, is the next question that comes to my mind is, how can I be happier, or how can I solve it? How can I try to solve this particular issue or hindrance in my life that will make me more, happier, kumbaga, parang ganon. And then the next thing that I think about, is this something that I can solve alone? There is value in thinking that you can solve things alone, and there are actual things that you can solve alone. But I do personally believe that it is nice to be part of something that, like a group or a network of people that will help you achieve the same goal. So when you're thinking about your passions and thinking about the things that make you happy, later on you would think about the issues that you can solve together when you are with like-minded individuals. So I put value in community. So for example, there are a lot of things that you can do outside your current course or field, or even within your course or field, that would be very much amplified if you are part of a community. So as you can see, there are things that you cannot achieve by yourself, and it would be faster or maybe more fun, kumbaga, if you try to attain a certain goal with like-minded individuals. So as you can see here, there are some of the pictures that, I think I was with a lot of different groups, wherein we all try to attain the same sort of goals into solving the issues that we found in the community that makes us less happy. So that in itself, I think, is a definition of a passion project. So it is a carefully planned activity that you take on that solves a problem or achieves an objective. It also gives you a strong feeling of happiness. Kasi why nga naman will you do it if it doesn't make you happy? And at the end of the day, it is something that, you would like to really find time, similar to what Anas was talking about kanina a while ago, that this is more of parang your calling, or most of the people who do their passions are doing it because they feel happy about it when they do it. So the next thing that I want to, that I usually think about when I'm thinking about a passion project is there a digital solution? So just to, share a quick example, kumbaga, on the certain projects that I've been doing to help solve certain issues in the community. Before the pandemic, I am part of this organization that we are located in different parts of the country, parang ganyan. We all met back in my hometown here in Baguio City. I'm from Baguio. And as we grow older, syempre, we have different paths. We are now located in different parts of the country, even outside the country, internationally, parang ganyan. And we wanted, to do certain projects, but we were hindered by the distance that we had because we were quite far apart. So even before the pandemic, we were already utilizing the certain technologies that we had available at the time, para so that we could address the issues and solve the particular problem at hand. So for example, the meetings, usually for client meetings, yeah, it's been said that since they're in different countries, you meet online, ganyan. But usually for the core team or the workmates, the group of the officers or the people you work with, it's quite difficult to work remotely because with all these ideas, with all these thoughts that come into your mind, it would be easier if you're all together in one place. So that was one main challenge that we had as members of this certain organization. And I think during that time, the way we solved it is we tried to think of a digital solution on how could we meet and how could we better collaborate on the things that we wanted to talk about to solve our problems. So during that time, we already did our research and learning about maybe using Skype, yung mga ganyan, using back then it was starting pa lang yung mga Facebook Messenger, yung mga ganyan, even the Trello boards like that. These things we already utilized even though before the pandemic. So hindi naman thankfully, sorry. So when the pandemic hit, it was sort of an easier transition for us because we already were doing it and I was already able to apply that to my work or to the actual course or field that I am working on. So the transition was not as hard because we already learned these soft skills from the digital solution that we did during our activities with my other organizations. Another thing that I could think about, maybe I'm keeping things as the digital solutions as simple as I can, so that in a sense you won't be hindi kayo malula or something like that. So the next thing that I could remember that we did was in particular to registration and a registration process. I know right now that you guys are fully utilizing, using forms and everything like that. But during our time kasi, parang it was really hard because the organization still used manual forms and we used snail mail for a certain, for certain activities that we had to do. Because once a year we had an annual convention wherein everybody would come into a certain place. And then the registration process in itself was a nightmare to think about. So during that time, we also thought about what digital solution could we, do to somehow lighten our burden. Kasi we're doing this as ano lang as a passion project lang parang ganyan So during that time, we learned about Google Forms and tried to, utilize using Google Forms. So back then, when we were able to successfully do that, we already acquired the skills necessary for us to engage and what do you call this? Use these forms, kumbaga, into our the certain parts of our work, parang ganon. So siguro it's just a quick what do you call this? A quick recap lang or something lang just to share about how a digital solution can greatly impact certain passion projects that you are doing. So don't think that you have to create like a whole big system or something like that just so that you can be a big contribution to the organization or company that you work with. It's usually in the small things and the small repetitive things that nuance, people when they are trying to achieve a certain goal. So the next part of this, thinking about that is why should one pursue a passion project outside their current course or field? So a while ago, I mentioned nga na these organizations that I worked for, that I've been part of. These are usually outside of the course or field that I am working with. But I'm thinking, why am I wasting my time or why am I using my time, kumbaga, to do that rather than develop my personal skills, kumbaga, dun sa course or field ko? Well, the first thing that I thought of when thinking of why should I pursue these passion projects is it provides a refreshing perspective, kumbaga. So when you're doing something, there are certain problems that will arise that um, if you are if you are boxed in whatever course or field you are in, you will feel quite limited, or the simplest answer could be difficult because you cannot see the whole picture because you're boxed in lang in your course or field. But if you are pursuing passion projects outside the course or field, then it provides you a refreshing perspective. It gives you a different view on how to approach or solve a problem. And that in itself will also teach you soft skills. So what do I mean when I say soft skills? Like there are a lot of skills that you can learn. And later on, I'll touch a little more on the soft skills part. But let's keep in mind that when you do certain things, you will acquire or it will teach you a lot of soft skills. So wag kayong parang, don't feel down that you're doing unrelated things, because little by little, these unrelated things that you think that you are doing, you're acquiring certain skills that unbeknownst to you, that you do not know, it's applicable pala in your course or field. Parang ganon. And finally, it gives you time off from the stresses of your current course or field. So yeah, when things start to become monotonous or things start to become routinary or boring, you feel unmotivated, parang ganyan. So pursuing your passion projects, in the meantime, while taking a break from whatever you are doing relating to your course, will give you, time off, like especially if it's related to something you really really love. It will, somehow give you a better work-life balance experience. So yun. So the next question here is, how do passion projects help leverage your skills holistically? So I really like this example, that, for example, maybe for the older generation, um, you recognize the first picture on top, and then for the younger generation, maybe it's more relatable to you, the picture at the bottom. So problem solving skills are nurtured if you when you what do you call this, when you try to approach or try to do passion projects, your problem solving skills are nurtured. It's continuously challenged because you're still doing something to solve a certain problem. So work problems are surprisingly, they have a lot of similarities with passion project problems. So for example, the members of the Google student development clubs, this is somewhat a passion project to you guys, but the soft skills that you are learning as you try to nurture this organization, um, you'll be surprised that this is fairly very related to the certain problems you'll be encountering when you are already working. That's why I am encouraging these students na continue doing what you're doing, be part of an organization or community. So going back on the pictures here that I showed, it says here, wax on, wax off, as Mr. Miyagi told the Karate Kid back then, or jacket on, jacket off, which Jackie Chan, this version of Mr. Miyagi, says to the younger Karate Kid. So in life, it's similar to the kung fu saying that everything you do is interrelated. So in the movie, you can see that the Karate Kid, was doing something what he thought was not related. Just putting on a jacket, putting it off, and then later on, he was surprised when learning that it build muscles and strength, the core strength that he need to become a martial artist. So just like martial arts, everything you do in life is interconnected. So I'd like you to think about all the things, all the experiences that you have encountered in your life, and try to think, what are the valuable things that I could pick up from them? It could be as silly as a very very small silly thing, or it could be something relevant. You'd be surprised. So yun. Okay. My next question and the last question for this is, what is the importance of passion projects in the industry? So as you know naman, the industry or the technological industry right now grows very fast. It's a very fast-paced world, parang ganyan. So what passion projects do is it helps you foster a well-rounded experience that is vital for the industry to flourish. Kasi as my example a while ago, I noted na, di ba, if you are only within that box that you are in, you have a limited perspective on life. So the industry that you are working on or your personal experience will be limited as well to what's inside that box lang. But if you are, pursuing things that seem unrelated to your course or field, like passion projects or certain passion projects, then it would give you the boost needed to, somehow evolve the certain industry. So the industry, for example, way back when I was starting was totally different from the industry it is now. Well, mainly it is because of the key players or the people that are working on these fields. So, syempre, those passion projects also gives you a better work-life balance management. I say work-life balance management because if, for example, you become a workaholic and you just focus on working and working and working, things like that, it would burn you out. But if you do things that somehow balance or make you happy, it balance things out and gives you a better a better balance. Kumbaga, it gives you a better bearing, kumbaga, when it comes to how your outlook in life will be. And innovation is more likely to happen. So, ayan. Okay. So, with all of these things considered and all of the passion projects that you do or you be a part of, how do all of these help me land my dream job? So here's the million-dollar question, the dream job, kumbaga. So if you think about it, is the dream job real? Parang ganyan. Or a lot of people would claim that a dream job is a myth. As students, you would think na parang as soon as you graduate, you want to work in your dream job na kaagad. So later on, I'll try to, break down on how can we identify what is a dream job. So yun. But before that, I'd like to share a little bit about myself. So it's the title of this particular slide is Compare Less or Value Your Personal Experience. So as if you observe a while ago, I didn't introduce myself as much. So this would be the slide that I would want to introduce myself. So please bear with me as I try to talk a little more about myself. So I started my professional journey, kumbaga, or my working journey, quite early when I was in high school. I already started working, and what I thought, syempre, during that time was just to help out in the house. So during that time, I was a flyer boy. I used to give out flyers depending on what the occasion was. So, for example, if it was election time, I would give out flyers of certain um, politicians, parang ganyan. Or there are times that I would give out flyers for certain brands. Like if, for example, this brand wanted, to be advertised a little more through flyering, I was the person that would get the flyers and give them out, to strangers and to people. So during that time, I was, I think maybe second year high school, if I'm not mistaken. Back then, so we were not well off. Back then, after that, I was given an opportunity to work at a fast food chain, wherein I did. I don't know if I can mention the name of the fast food chain, but I did serve a lot of customers. With the cashier work, the cooking, and the bus work. Serving food to certain individuals. So this happened like I think maybe around college na ako nun. I was around maybe second or third year college when I started working. This was to help, with my family, for example, parang ganon, to, what do you call this? At least yung baon ko, parang ganon. So yun. And then later on, because I'm quite talkative, if you can observe, and I thought during that time that my English was fairly good. I tried to dip my toes a little bit in online tutoring. So I wanted to teach foreign individuals, particularly the Japanese, on how to speak English. And during this time, it was online. So I was an online ESL tutor for a while during my, I don't know, final to extending years, I guess, of college. And then after that, I was fortunate enough to my friend, his mother had started a company or was already starting a company, and they were looking for internships, parang ganyan. So I already started to dip my toes, which was related to my course or field naman na, because I was thinking I've been doing all these jobs and it's not helping me, kumbaga, improve on the work or the actual thing that I thought during that time I wanted to do. So I became a website developer. I was trained to become a website developer. And later on, I already started programming. So this is where I developed my programming skills. And then, however, I'm not that, I feel that I'm not as smart as my peers during this time. Code for me during that time was really very hard to achieve, whereas yung classmates ko during that time, parang they could code quite easily, they could program quite easily. And for me, it was a struggle, even though my course was a computer science student. Um, so when the opportunity came that a client for this company that I was already working for, take note, I was still a student here, um, came that they wanted to learn about search engine optimization, I immediately jumped in because I felt that I wasn't as competent as a developer. So I did my best to learn when they gave out trainings for search engine optimization. Wherein I was fortunate enough na nag-click siya, nag-jive siya. I was able to understand the concepts quite fairly. And up until now, I'm using the skills that I learned from SEO in the current company that I'm working for. Later on, I had an opportunity. So if you can imagine this journey, later on, I had more opportunities that came in my way. I was a Baguio boy, so I worked and studied in Baguio up until I was a search engine optimization specialist. And then an opportunity came from Manila. So I was called to work in Manila. So it was quite a scary time for me. But what I thought was, this is already something that things got real na. Parang ganun. I had to move out of my comfort zone, wherein I was employed as a website analyst. Me being very, talkative in a sense and trying to understand all these things that I've been doing for the past few years. I was able to relate that in somehow with the analytics. This is the time when I already started working for, bigger brands, international, higher caliber international clients. And back then I was quite afraid, to be honest, because I felt like I was this guy from the, a smaller city, kumbaga, moving into a bigger city, and the competition was really high. And I had to be confident, kumbaga, in giving out the analytical solutions to the questions of my clients. And then later on, I am now a search and performance analyst. So now I dip my toes, or I am now into the part of digital analytics na as a whole, wherein everything is connected na. So as a digital marketer, there are a lot of requirements that you have to, to fulfill, kumbaga, or experiences that you have to have. So you have to have certain skills of identifying which ads to give to certain people, parang ganyan, like a flyer boy. You have to understand how to serve customers, when is the right time to serve whatever they are, customer service, parang ganyan. You have to have communications, just like a busboy in a certain fast food. And then you have to have the skills on teaching the clients on what would best work as a strategy, or on helping them understand why this strategy is important or why you're doing this. And it also, you also need skills that, to talk to certain foreign people, because sometimes there are foreign people who can understand English but have a hard time comprehending it, parang ganon. So certain skills like an English tutor would be very helpful in becoming a digital marketer. And of course, during this time that I'm working right now, I usually communicate with developers in putting codes or certain tags or scripts into the website, or kumbaga, technical or programmatic solutions into the ads that we run. So it would be nice to have developer experience as well. Aside from the developer experience, such as a developer, you also need experiences or the know-how on how Google works, on what Google sees or other search engines, on how they would interpret or showcase your website online, such as a search engine optimization specialist's skills. And then later on, when all the data comes in, all of this information comes in, you need to have analytical skills so that you can understand what all these numbers mean. And like the experiences of a website analyst. So as you can see, this experience I had in my life way back when I was giving flyers, I didn't know that I was gonna be a digital marketer in the future, a digital analyst. So, but back then, I kept on going on. I kept on trying different jobs. I kept on trying things that were new. And then I went and thought back to myself, what are the things that I learned while doing these things? So yon. So going back is you should value your own personal experience. Everybody has their own path. Everybody will, face certain challenges in life, parang ganyan. But it is the value of what you pick up from the things you do. So do not be, do not be depressed, or do not be, down, kumbaga. Sorry for saying that. Do not be down if, for example, you think that the things you are doing right now are unrelated to what you will be in the future. It depends on you, on what are the skills that you pick up from the things that you do. So yon. And then the one thing that I'd like to highlight here is to compare less. Way when I was starting, way early when I was still, a busboy at this fast food chain, my peers during that time were already, parang mga henyo na sa pagko-code. They were all very fast developers. They all picked up the lessons quite quickly like that. And during that time, I was comparing myself. Why was I not why was I not picking things up? Why was my grades lower than these guys? Parang ganyan. But then later on, I realized that the less I compare, the more happy I am. Parang ganon. So in life, everybody will have different, paths, kumbaga, as I mentioned a while ago, and they do not necessarily have to be the same path as yours. So value your own and personal path, and do not compare, kumbaga, your path with your peers. Kasi the less you compare, the more time you have to developing your own personal experience. So um, we go to the next part here on trying to identify what is a dream job. I talk to my friends and try to understand, um, am I in my current dream job, parang ganyan. And there are certain things, when I did a lot of research, there are certain things that a lot of people, the majority, would agree upon. There are three main things that you have to consider or to look at in a certain company if you are going to start working or while you are working, to somehow make you closer to that dream job. Because if you, as mentioned nga in the first talk a while ago, then that the passions will change. Your passions will eventually change as you grow older. But parang there's that feeling na parang, should I invest in doing this right now? Eh, if my passion will change din lang tomorrow, baka it's sayang lang, parang ganon. So as you grow, there are certain things that will change, and sometimes the dream job or your idea of a dream job would also change. So this guide, the leg, kumbaga, is something that I think would be very helpful for the students trying to understand what is a dream job for them. So the first thing to consider is a leader. So instead of, there are people who, mentor you, parang ganyan. There are people who can guide you and lead you to, improving or upskilling your project, parang ganyan. And there is, the other group, as we call them the boss, parang ganyan, on the negative approach of things. So if, for example, the company that you are working for, you are able to find this mentor or this leader that will help you develop further your skills, then that is the first key indicator that you are in your dream job na. The next thing that you have to look out for is the environment. Is the environment toxic? Are the workmates you're working with happy? Kumbaga, with the things that are happening in the company. Are you provided with the right tools that you need, or the right equipment that you need to make your work, more efficient? So these are the next things that you need to consider, the environment. So aside from having a boss, you also have to look into the environment that you are about to work for. So there are some na parang very luxurious, like if you can imagine, there's like a ping pong table inside or something like that. But for me personally, it's the people I work with. If the people I work with provide, it's like as if you're not working, you're enjoying what you all do. You all have a positive outlook in whatever you're doing. Nobody's toxic within the environment. Then that in itself is already a good indicator, or the second key indicator that you are working in your dream job, or that you will be working in your dream job. And finally, the last part is growth. So you may have a good boss, you may have a good environment, but you keep on doing everything and the same. This will somehow become boring for you personally, especially for the young minds right now. Na as you pursue certain uh, uh, topics or projects within your company, you would also want to grow. So as long as you learn every day, maybe not every day, as long as you continue to learn a new topic or a new improvement in the course or field that you are in, or the work that you are in, then that I think is the third best indicator that you are working in your dream job. So Why do people resign from certain jobs? Well, usually when two of the three are, X, kumbaga, if two of the three that I mentioned here are not optimal, kumbaga, you don't get 2 out of 3 here, then that's why people already start resigning from certain jobs. And there are also opportunities na you have a good leader, you have a good environment, but there's a better opportunity for growth, parang ganyan. So that's why some people move on to the next job, parang ganyan. So not being no hard feelings, kumbaga, dun sa job na aalisan nyo, if growth naman yung issue, kumbaga, kung bakit kayo magmo-move on. So do not be pressured na dapat yung next na job na puntahan nyo is dream job na kaagad. It's a journey that you will slowly develop, and with the positive outlook in life, and for example, the little sparks of joy that you pick up from what you are doing, then that in itself will form or will become the dream job. Parang ganyan. So the key takeaways for my discussion for today is what a passion project is. Again, it is a carefully planned activity you take on to solve that solves a problem or achieves an objective. It gives you a strong feeling of happiness. And then to help you understand or try to find these small passion projects, start with small things that spark joy. And then you can think of solutions to inconveniences that hinder you from your personal spark of joy. And then after that, when you already found these inconveniences, communicate with like-minded individuals, your very own community. So in itself will grow your own community. So there are some that are maybe worried kayo that you do not have yet this community, you are not yet part of this community, but later on, as you continue pursuing your project, you would gravitate towards each other, and magugulat kayo. Even it's small, you will become a community, and all of you trying to solve a certain problem in itself will be something fulfilling and would help, kumbaga, the larger community. My favorite part here, the wax on, wax off, jacket on, jacket off, everything you do will be interconnected. So do not be depressed, do not be sad. I'm sorry, I cannot say do not be depressed. Do not be sad na the things that you are doing are unrelated. Remember, like the Kung Fu saying, everything is one. Kumbaga, ayan. So value your personal experience. Never compare. We have our own paths. And let your passions lead you to your dream job. So, sorry, I was rambling a little bit siguro dun sa talk ko, but that is my talk for today. I hope I was able to inspire or able to clarify some of the things that are of interest to the young students today. So yan. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Sir Raymond. I think a lot of our participants have a lot of takeaways to your talk. So, indeed, the creating a passion project can not only make you realize what you really want to do, but it can also make you have that fulfillment because you're doing what you're doing what makes you happy. So most of us view passion, even me. Sometimes I view passion as something that is boxed in what I am what career I am into right now, which is computer science. But it can also be an outside project, like you could do writing or anything that makes you happy. So it was really good to know that I everything that I do could be interrelated. And I also like what Sir Raymond said, the less I compare, the happier I am, because we tend to compare ourselves and we feel like we're not really progressing that much. So yeah, how about you, Mao?
I definitely agree on what you said, Grace. Actually, he also emphasized the importance of community. So I enjoy working with competent and goal-centered people. So for that reason, I joined a lot of organizations. Tamang BS organizations major in computer
Same.
science. So I was glad that I got out of my comfort zone because it's gratifying if you meet the right people to work with. So I like on how he stated that passion projects aren't necessarily na big projects, since they can be small things as long as you're doing something um to solve a problem or to attain a certain goal. So I think some of us really need to be reminded yung compare less, value your personal experience. I think we really need to stop looking at others but focus on ourselves. It's okay to be inspired of other people's achievements. but never compare their achievements to yours. So yun nga, let's now proceed with the question and answer portion. So therefore, please see our Zoom chat box or comment section for those who are watching from our Facebook live stream, as we have sent the link of Slido where you can send your questions for Sir Raymond.
So I guess there's already a lot of questions coming in. So the first question for Sir Raymond, I tried doing passion projects but often fail to maintain them because I get overwhelmed easily from school works. I actually felt this. How can I maintain them better?
Okay, so that's a good question. Actually, to be honest, I do have a lot of passion projects that are not yet completed hanggang ngayon. But, there are a lot of things that I started before that hindi ko pa rin tapos until now. So do not be, discouraged. I guess it has the beauty about passion projects is most of the time wala siyang timeline. You work on your own pace. So how can you maintain them better? So of course you have to do the important stuff first and then reward yourself, I guess, with the passion project. As mentioned a while ago by Anna's the Pomodoro technique or it's more about organizing and balancing these things. So of course you have to prioritize which things are important. And then when you have the time or when you're bored or you're lazy not to do certain things, then that's the time you can do the passion projects. So yeah. So just to point on that a little more, don't worry kasi pati ako, marami pa akong passion projects na hindi pa tapos and I'm still working on them right now.
So guys, i-take nyo yung mga sinasabi ni Sir Raymond. I think problema talaga natin yung pag-procrastinate. So yun nga, next question. If you were given a chance to go back in the past, what piece of advice would you like to give to your younger self career-wise?
Wow, this is very good. I hope I could do this talaga. So if I could go back to the past, siguro I would tell myself not to be too hard on myself. Siguro that's one thing. Kasi early on, I was, yun nga, as I said a while ago, I kept on comparing. I felt really depressed. So I wasn't the star pupil of the group. I wasn't the, best programmer in class. So during that time, I was very hard on myself. So siguro this, if I could go back, and tell myself, chill lang, tiwala lang, kumbaga, things will become better. And your outlook in life, how you perceive things, it's all about perception for me kasi. So how you perceive things will help you, develop your career further. Parang ganun. So yeah.
Okay, so next question po. How are you able to work in a professional industry even if you haven't acquired your degree yet?
Yeah. So yeah, good question again. As you can see, the early professional work I didn't necessarily need a degree. Giving out flyers, you didn't have to have a degree. Teaching ESL, depende lang yun. During that time when I was applying, you didn't have to have a degree. You just had to sell yourself well, kumbaga. When I was starting, it was a connection from a friend. I was telling my friend I needed to start doing something related naman daw sa course ko. And he coincidentally said na his mother was starting and would you want to train? So as long as you're willing and you have a positive outlook on trying, then you can already start small tasks. Keep in mind that as students, you're thinking, ito yung sahod dapat, ito dapat yung kitain ko. But the reality in it is, if you are starting, salary is not as lucrative, kumbaga. But later on, as you become more valuable. To be honest, I started my financial journey very, very low compensation lang. How much do you pay someone giving out flyers, kumbaga, di ba? Parang ganyan. But now, thankfully, I'm blessed, kumbaga, dahil sa experiences na build up ko. So do not be frustrated na once you graduate, ito kaagad yung sahod or ito dapat yung sahod mo, parang ganon. So ayun, as you grow older and as you prove to your employers that you are of better value to the company, you become indispensable, kumbaga, sa company, then that's the time na your salary will follow, kumbaga. So yeah.
So thank you for that one. So next question is job hopping bad for your career image?
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, it depends on the employer. I started out my journey as someone, trying to look for different jobs. But later on, when I was on the other side of the seat na evaluating applicants, parang ganyan, to join certain companies that I've been working for, I did honestly look at those, job butterflies, as what you want to call them, na parang they would work for this company for 3 months and then after that move to another company. So as I said a while ago, it really depends on how you defend yourself when the employer asks you that, because of course that will come out in your resume. Of course, some people would like na there are a lot, of experience, a lot of but there are some who looks at it na parang 2 months lang siya dito, 1 month lang dito, tas lumipat na dito, parang ganon. So ako personally, I'd like to stay in the company and give it a chance for at least 2 years, 1 to 2 years, parang ganon, in trying to develop my skills, because there's a reason why I chose this company. It's for my growth. So if quite quickly I find out na parang it's not the perfect fit for me, I try first to fit in, parang ganyan, and try to adapt. But if talagang wala, and then that's the time I move to another job opportunity. So yeah. So thankfully naman, I've been blessed naman na dun sa mga job opportunities that I've been part of. Wala naman ako masabi sa mga employers ko. They've been very very kind to me, kumbaga. Ayun.
Okay, thank you for that, sir. Next, sir, what if the passion that I have is hard to put or turn into a project?
Okay, so I'd like to ask Sana what that particular passion is, but I guess it really depends on what are the issues ba that you can find, as I mentioned a while ago in my talk. What are the issues you find in your passion? Like, what are the things that make you less happy? And then solving, these small instant, pwede kasing kunyari, for example, you're just, let's say you enjoy playing games, parang ganyan. And then, the internet is quite intermittent, parang ganyan, or it's lagging because of the hardware na nandun, then maybe yung pagkalikot lang pala nito is will help solve yung pagkalikot ng modem, for example, will help solve you solve this problem in your passion, kumbaga. Then go for it. That in itself is already a project, parang ganyan. So again, don't be too hard on yourself. If you do not have issues in your passion, then that is good. So yun.
So thank you po. Next question. I'm sorry if ang rami. We want to answer most
It's
of
fine.
them po. Okay, next question. In my degree program, I feel like I am always below average, but I really want this. Should I still pursue this or look for other things where I will progress?
um Ay, nawawala ako. Ayun. So, I quite relate to you, whoever asked this question. I also always felt below average, as I mentioned a while ago. And I really wanted it as well kasi. So, for me, it's a matter of, the example of the second speaker a while ago, Rafael. It's not a race, di ba? If you can imagine being the turtle, just slow and steady. Just do it on your own pace, kumbaga. So, um, learn, don't be too hard on yourself, I guess, and you still pursue it. For me, personally, I think you still pursue it, and then be open to other opportunities that are related to pursuing it. Because our field, for example, the computer science field, is very broad and it continues to evolve. So you being the first person to find out that, oh, this is something that I can, focus on or specialize on, then that in itself will already, help you progress, parang ganon. Because going back to this example kanina, I wasn't such a good developer talaga. As in, I knew how to code. I can read code. I can do code. But parang later on, it's not as, hindi na ako masaya, parang, coding, parang ganun. So when the opportunity came that is related pa rin sa computer science, it's just a different field, kumbaga. Then I went to pursue it. So yun. So again, keep on keeping on. Be like a turtle. Slow and steady wins the race, kumbaga. So yeah.
Okay, so thank you po ulit for answering the question po. Next, I've been passing up org and internship opportunities because I'm scared I won't be able to deliver. Should I let fear hold me back or apply and just learn along the way?
Well, it's natural to feel afraid, di ba? Everybody feels afraid. But I think you can measure bravery, kumbaga, in pursuing the things that you are afraid of. Being brave doesn't mean, this is so cliche. Being brave doesn't mean you're not afraid of anything, but being brave means you're pursuing something that you are afraid of. So if you are passing off certain internships, I'd assume you are still very young. So it's not yet too late. Parang ganon. So don't let fear hold you back. Just tiwala ka lang. Tiwala lang sa sarili mo. Later on, you will what do you call this? You will learn more about yourself on what you can and cannot do. So you cannot do that if you do not try. So trying is the first step always. Do not let fear hold you back. So
Right. So I agree doon sa don't let fear hold you back. I mean, may time ka pa naman na like mahaba pa yung path mo, hindi naman to race. So just try lang talaga. So for next question, in what way you inspired yourself to be able to land on your dream job now?
mm, wow, that's a good question nga. So how did I inspire myself? Well, I think as I mentioned a while ago, ba't ganun yung video ko? So as I mentioned a while ago, it's really about your perspective in life. If you keep on looking at things on the wrong side of things, parang ganun, or you keep on looking at things negatively, then it would be very hard to inspire yourself. So look at the small wins, look at the small blessings that come into your life. For example, you learned how to move this variable to, or define this variable today. That in itself is an achievement. Capitalize on that, or reward yourself, parang ganon. Don't be too hard on yourself, so that it would be easier to inspire yourself later on as you go on. So how I did that was because of my perspective in life. Some people would think na parang yung mga kaedad ko nandun na, ganito na yung ginagawa, ganito na yung sahod, parang ganyan. Pero that will somehow not inspire you. For me, I changed it. It was more of, I'm happy for my friends who are there and I will get there, parang ganon. So that's how I inspired myself, kumbaga, to continue landing on to my dream job. Yeah.
Okay, that's very nice po. That's very nice answer po. Yes, tama naman. Be happy for your friends and eventually you will get there naman. Okay, so next po is what college year is best to apply for internships or work opportunities?
um I think my honest answer for me is it should be quite early on. But if kunyari you're already on your fourth, third year, ganyan, don't be too down, parang ganon. I think kasi it's best to start earlier kasi you have more time eh. Parang ganon. Once you're on your third or fourth year, nothing start to become more demanding pagdating sa school requirements, parang ganyan. So I think it would be honestly harder to balance things. But as I said a while ago, it's not yet too late. So if, for example, you're already on your third, fourth, or extending year, parang ganyan, still continue. It's still a good time. I think the best time to apply is when you're ready, when you're emotionally ready na, parang ganon. So if you think that okay, it's time for me to start, then go start, parang ganon. Ayan.
So thank you for that one. I think we'll have our last question na po. Should I finish a project which does not make me happy anymore just to say I finished it?
This is a tough one, especially if you're part of a community already, di ba? So if you're already part of a community and people are looking up to you to complete this project, then I think social obligation dictates that, try your best to finish it. Pero if it's more of something na parang that doesn't really make you happy na, then try to talk to the people in your community so that they would understand why, parang ganon. So again, since it's a passion project, you don't have a timeline on yourself, you don't have a deadline, you don't have a requirement for yourself, kumbaga. So as long as, kumbaga, you can talk to your peers in the community na you can, let go of this obligation na, then I think it's fine naman not to finish it. Maybe don't put an end to things. Maybe it doesn't make you happy today, pero who knows, in a few weeks or in a few months, you feel happy again, parang ganon. So it really depends on what you're feeling today. So there's no pressure on trying to finish. Sorry, on trying to finish it naman. So
So thank you so much, Sir Raymond. I'm sorry that we won't be able to answer everyone's questions. So to express the gratitude of GDSC PLM, we presented Certificate of Appreciation. The Google Developer Student Club's PLM is hereby awarded the Certificate of Appreciation to Mr. Raymond Lorie Gutierrez in grateful appreciation for imparting his dedication and valuable insight to share his knowledge in Land Your Dream Job with Passion project to lighten up and inspire the participants of GDSC PLM for its week-long series of talks and workshops of Ready Set Grow, given this 22nd day of November in the year of 2021. So thank you so much again, Sir Raymond.
thank you.
Thank you so much again, Sir Raymond. Before we move on, let's have a short photo op with the speaker and the participants. May we ask Sir Raymond and the participants to open their cameras. And once again, we would like to ask Kimberly to help us with the photo op. Thank you.
Hello everyone, it's me again. So may I ask you all to turn on your cams? Okay, is everyone ready? Or let's give the others a minute. Okay, I think I'll start now. Okay, I'll snap in 3, 2, 1. Thank you. So next page for a second. For the next page. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Okay. Hold on. For a second, please. Okay, for the last one. One, two, three. Thank you.
Again, thank you so much, Sir Raymond. So this concludes our day one of Ready Set Grow. Fasten your skills and get ready for takeoff. It has been a long day for everyone. So how was the whole day, Grace?
Actually learned like a lot. It makes it serves me a lot of thoughts. I was able to think through what I really want to do in life with this on this one. So yeah, that's basically it. How about you, Mao?
To be honest, I was nervous today because I was worried if I'll be able to do a good job as one of the
Same.
MCs, pero kudos to us.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, I enjoyed hosting today's event. I enjoyed talking to a lot of goal-oriented individuals who share the same passion and ideas, and I learned a lot from our speakers today. So it's like an honor for me to be here at the very first flagship event of GDSC PLM. Before we finally end today's event, once again, we want to give our thanks to the following companies and organizations. So Ready Set Grow is co-presented by Buyer Technologies, DevCurate, Education.ph, Kada Career. We also want to thank PGY Academy, DataCamp, FranchiseManila.com, Point West Innovations Corporation, and Engineering Beans PH for sponsoring today's event. Our utmost gratitude as well to the following GDSC chapters for being our major partners: FEU Institute of Technology, Holy Angel University, University of San Agustin, University of St. LaSalle, together with Institute of Computer Engineers of the Philippines, .SE PLM chapter, PLM Computer Science Society, PLM Tugon Rescue, and UP Sahomsai.
Yes, so of course, we would also like to extend our thanks to our executive media partners when in Manila and Edge TV Philippines. Another special thanks to our media partners, GDSC TUP Manila, GDSC UP Manila, Kilosco Youth, PLM COUP Student Council, PLM College of Engineering and Technology Student Council, PLM Society of Information Technology Enthusiasts, and WeTech. We also don't want to forget the following GDSC chapters for being our minor partners: AMA Caloocan, Batangas State University JPLPC Malvar, Uno Recoletos, Crystal E College, University of San Carlos, together with Bukluran Student Alliance. And of course, to our participants, thank you very much for attending this event and for your utmost participation. Really hope you really learned a lot. Make sure to answer the evaluation form that you will see in the chat and comment section for your attendance. Take note that the evaluation form will be closed at exactly 11:59 p.m. today. Again, 11:59 p.m. today. So make sure to accomplish that before the said time. Yes. So yeah, thank you again, guys. I hope you enjoyed the day one because this is not the end. We still have tomorrow. We hope to see you once again, same time at exactly 1 o'clock p.m. for another fun-filled talk about career development. Right, Mao?
That's right. Watch out tomorrow and for the next 3 days as we still have a lot in store for you. So we invited more speakers that will share their knowledge and expertise to guide us towards our career journey. Isn't it exciting? Do I sound
Yes,
excited? But I'm
exciting.
really excited about it. If you want to know more, don't miss out and be our guest for the next few days.
Yes, we hope to see you all once again. So, in addition, should you have any concerns, you can reach us on all the GDSC PLM social media platforms, such as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, as shown on the chat and comment section. Don't forget to click that like and follow button to be updated about GDSC PLM's events and announcements. So, as you can see on the screen, you can also scan the QR code.
So don't worry, guys. This is not a goodbye because we are just starting. Again, I am Maureen Katura, the GDSC PLM lead auditor.
And I am Grace Kaulagan, the GDSCPLM's Chief Operations Officer.
And this is Ready, Set, Grow Day 1. Thank you so much and have a good day ahead, guys.
Bye, guys. Stay
Bye,
safe.
guys. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
See you
Thank you.
tomorrow.
Recording stopped.
Hi, my name is Anas. I'm the founder of 𝗥𝗽𝗵, the next generation career platform and impact-driven community. Our vision is to help purpose-driven individuals optimize their chances of landing the right career opportunities. This is made possible thanks to our cutting-edge AI technology. So no more endless job hunting, searching, applying, and not hearing anything back. We also organize a range of impact programs, including skills development, pro bono career service, webinars, and social events, connecting people who drive change within the sector across the world. If you are someone who's making a difference in the lives of others, you're not alone. We would like to welcome you, and we look forward to being part of your impact journey.
We realize that high school, college, even a first job can seem scary. That's why we created 𝗥𝗽𝗵 to equip them with tools, connect them to schools, find scholarships, learn online, match their skills to courses and jobs out there. So their future wouldn't be as 𝗥𝗽𝗵
Welcome to Kada Career, mga aspiring cadets. Are you ready to go on a journey and grow with all of us? Pero, bago lahat niyan, ano nga ba ang Kada Career? Kada Career is an online platform where people get to learn about new career paths, connect with experts from different fields, and build their networks by being part of a community. In short, a cadet gets to enjoy the 3 C's of Kada Career: content, coaching, and community. Explore the vast content that Kada Career has to offer by joining online webinars and workshops that tackle different topics such as UX, UI design, running online businesses, virtual freelancing, and many more. Also, get to discover and learn more about the careers that you plan to take by understanding the work done, responsibilities, and the skills needed in these professions through Kada Career's Career Exploring Database. Mas natututo ka ba kapag one-on-one ang usapan? Huwag kang mag-alala because Kada Career lets cadets choose a coach that they'd want to consult with through the platform's offered coaching sessions. Get to interact with different coaches from a vast array of fields and expertise whose aim is to guide you in your journey of excelling in your career. But that's not all. Here in Kada Career, hindi ka nag-iisa because of the inclusive community that welcomes you to the platform. Get to meet and interact with other people that share the same